A long time ago, in a faraway village, well, actually not that long ago, in more of a community, really, there was a place called the Internet, whose jewel of a podcast, in which the weebs did rule, was Dub Talk. The weebs of Dub Talk were always known to be troublemakers wherever they went, using their foul mouths and bad content to give the other weebs a bad feeling when they are around. They also would always spoil another weeb's fun by ruining stories such as Okami-san and her 7 companions, that the others would often need to speak to them after they've completed the show. And while they were very kind and sincere, they always had such strong opinions on anything they discussed that sometimes the entirety of Dub Talk would argue against. Yada yada yada, you know the story by now. I mean, you've sat through over 200 episodes of this, so I can't believe I'm still explaining this to you. Nonetheless, let us begin today's story, one that's filled with drama, romance, and some celebratory wishes. Shall we begin?
A long time ago in a podcast far, far away, where unicorns talked like Jameson Price and Patrick Seitz tapped you on the shoulder and said you are doing a good job, there were 3 little dub talking elves. There was Stephanie, the pretty one.
Hello, I am here.
There was Hardy, the manly one.
Hello, I am here.
And there was Megan, the screamy one.
What to say. I was like, I'm just gonna
We don't talk about Andrew, the cancelled one.
He's waving hello. I'm staring at him. He has no idea what's happening right now.
Good, we like to keep things that way.
Good.
There's also Gigi, the sassy one, Zenith, the adorable one, Jet, the smart one, Lack, the crafty one, and Roots, the sleepy one. Oh yeah, and Amon, the skeletal one.
And Jamal.
And Jamal, the... Shit, I don't know what to give Jamal. Shit.
And don't forget Dopey, Noah Clue.
God, you're forgetting everybody today.
Dunk. And Jackson, the editing one.
The editing one, yep.
Jackson counts.
Jackson counts.
Yeah, Jamal gets to be the cool one.
And what about Noah? Oh, the animated one.
Or Dopey, we take that too.
Oh, that's true. I like Dopey better. I love you, Noah.
And tonight, the original 3 little dub talking elves got together and decided to talk about a 2010... Shit, I forgot what year this came out. Okay,
you're right, 2010.
Shh. And they got together to talk about a 2010 little anime about fairy tales, punching, and beating the shit out of your attempted rapist. Okami-san and her 7 companions.
Wow, trigger warning right there.
I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong, but Lord, jumping into that, I didn't realize you were going in for that.
I didn't either, and it just happened. Hey guys, it's time for me to drop the fairy tale act. It's Megan here with the other original goats. And if you're wondering where the hell the anniversary episode for Mushishi is, it's currently on vacation in Miami.
Yep.
Sorry guys, it's a little complicated and I'm going through some shit right now, so I don't really have the time and energy to put together the Mushishi episode because it ended up being a lot more complicated than I thought.
At the same time, though, I will admit, I think this is a better fit for your anniversary episode than Mushishi is. I'm not gonna lie.
Why? Because it's angry and punches things?
No, because the main thing why we started this anniversary thing to begin with was we were looking for shows that had a special place in our hearts, and I know this one has a special place in yours.
Yeah!
So it's a better fit for you,
it
honestly.
Does. I love this show. I think I have shilled this show to so many people.
Yup. What is
I'm always just like, we're talking about Okami-san and her 7 companions, a 2010 anime from Studio JC Staff. There's a bug in this room, and I'm gonna kill it.
As I drink and almost spit out some coffee. Great.
Please don't do that. No, we're here to talk about Okami-san and her 7 companions, a 2010 anime from JC Staff that was dubbed by Funimation. The plot summary is as follows. Set in Otogi Bank City, Okami-san and her 7 companions follows the lives of Ryoko Okami and her friends and companions in her service at the Otogi High School Bank. They essentially are a group of high school students who do favors in return for other favors. So essentially, they are the mob.
You say
they
that,
are the most colorful mob you'll ever see in the world.
They are the most colorful and outrageous mob you will ever see, and you're
essentially the story is about Ryoko Okami, a tough girl who fights her way out of things, who is approached by a ultra shy boy named
Ryoshi.
You can tell Megan has her notes. Approached by an ultra shy boy named Ryoshi, who has ophthalmophobia, or a fear of people staring at him, along with Ryoko's roommate Ringo, the world's sassiest lolly gremlin. They essentially go around doing favors for people, wacky hijinks ensue, and a bit of drama. So tonight we are here to talk. I can't work under these conditions.
Good night, everybody. We just got here though.
This isn't Beauty and the Beast. Nobody from the cast of Law and Order's in this movie, in this show.
I've had coffee. This is my second cup because I learned that recording while having coffee works better now, and I'm not yawning in the middle of shit. It's also a decision I should probably regret.
Spaceman Hardy is just in the corner, like, yep, I'm stuck with these two again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
Uncle Scar? Uncle Scar?
Uncle
Uncle Scar, guess what? I'm gonna be king.
No. You're so old,
No.
Uncle Scar.
Are you so old? No, he's... Yeah, for all of you wondering what fucking member of Law and Order was in Beauty and the Beast, Jerry Obark was Lumiere.
Yes.
So yeah, if you've ever seen like older Law and Order, like original OG Law and Order, yeah, that dude was the and now we present your dinner. Beauty and the Beast, however, is not a fairy tale in this, because the other fun fact about Okami-san and her 7 companions is that every single character on the cast is based off of some sort of fairy tale. Their personality, their kind of backstory, their name, all of it is kind of based, or their personalities are all kind of based off it. So tonight, not only will we it's been a weird week as of the time of this recording.
Oh my God.
I'm just gonna say that.
What?
We unfortunately now live in a world where a dub for the irregular Magic High School exists.
Yup.
And please don't ask us to review it, please.
Please don't.
Look,
Josh!
Look here. There's a good shot.
I'm looking right the fuck at you, Crimson!
Look here. We're probably gonna get stuck with it eventually. Just don't even ask anymore. Because if we ask not for people not to say it, we're gonna get people to say, hey, do it. You realize that, right?
This is how we're gonna end up with an episode on Aiken, and I know it.
Oh, God. Fuck. Oh, jeez.
Aiken, not a fairy tale, but a horror story. You know it's not a horror story? The directing and writing team of this dub.
Segue.
Who we're going to get to. Because, you know, to have a good dub, you need a good director and writing team, and I am flailing around like a fish out of water.
You're fine.
So, because we are talking about a dub that has long been dubbed, I think this probably came out on DVD back in, like, 2013.
12, actually.
12, thank you. So, it's at least an 8-year-old dub. We are going to be reviewing the entirety of the dub, its cast, its characters, yada yada yada. You know the drill. You've sat through, like, 200 plus episodes of this shit. And we thank you for it.
We do thank you for it. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and what the fuck are you doing here?
Basically, I just did the wink from like that little boy and a paranoia agent who has a mental breakdown. About,
Yuichi Taira. Yuichi
Yes.
Taira, aka.
Shing.
Okay, under a pseudonym, under a different name, but you know what? Fuck it. aka Johnny Young Bosch, Johnny Young Bosch.
Baby Bosch. Alright, so talking about our director and our writing team, our director is one Colleen Quickenbeard, and our writers are Chuck Huber and Jamie Markey. Colleen Quickenbeard you'll know as the director for such series as My Hero Academia, Tokyo Ravens, and everyone's favorite punching bag, Fractal.
Oh.
I own it now. Because the LE was going out of print and I got it for $10.
That's still $10 more than deserved to be spent on Fractal.
You could have bought 2 $4 meals at Wendy's and still had change left over.
Look here.
And been more satisfied.
I am more satisfied at the fact that I did not pay full price for it. For one. And two... like,
Bitch, you could have had a double stack.
I don't care.
You could have had a double stack.
I try not to eat
Or
fast food
JBC.
I try not to eat fast food as much, alright? No. So what am I gonna do? I can't have... I don't usually eat fast food anymore.
The only fast food she likes is when Andrew takes his pants off.
Are you telling me I like hot dogs right now?
Yes.
I mean, hot dogs are delicious, so...
And they're also more satisfying than a copy of Fractal.
But I also don't have to pay for this hot dog you speak of.
Oh,
We need to stop this before it goes too far. Hardy's like, do I have to get the spray bottle now?
So Steph would rather spend $10 on Fractal than 2 double stacks.
I also spent $10 on Blood Sea and Codebreaker and what the fuck else did I get for $10?
Tokyo Ravens?
No, I didn't. Tokyo Ravens was something else.
I got Prison School for $10.
Oh, I got Selector Infected. I got.
Saying you got Selector Infected without saying Recross sounds like you got a horrible disease.
Shit! Bottom line.
Oh shit, I've come down with the Okadas.
Bottom line, best $50 I spent getting 5 LE sets going out of print for 10 apiece, so fuck you.
Unfortunately, one of them is still Fractal.
Listen.
Our writers, Chuck Huber has written series such as Sergeant Frog. He also wrote the OVA Wolf and Amber-Colored Melancholy and Strike Witches. Jamie Markey wrote series such as Blood Sea, Edo Rocket, and World End. I am not saying the entire name of that show. I don't have it in me.
I don't blame you.
I don't blame you.
Alright, Miss, I spent $10 on Fractal and all I'm getting is disappointment. Why don't you go first?
Look here, Fractal may be a mild disappointment, but I still have fun with it. Anyway, oh my god. It's been a few years since I've watched Okami-san, first of all. But going back to the show, dear sweet lord, I forgot how fun of a show this is. I really did. Oh man, because there's only one main thing I remember from the show, and I'm a little sad because we're going to talk about it probably almost immediately. But I'll hold off on that. But I love the directing, and especially the writing on this show. Holy shit. Directing wise, I love what Colleen did. The casting is so much fun, and this being a early 2010s dub, it's what you would probably expect it to be, with casting that's I would say a pretty good amount of Funimation regulars at that time. But they were put in such fun roles, and they had get to have so much fun, and there's a lot of energy to this dub, and I love it so much. The writing though, oh my god. I know we've been critical of some of the writing on other shows, specifically that Jamie has done before. We don't get to talk about Chuck as a writer really often or ever, honestly. But this is probably one of the better written shows, especially in Jamie's arsenal, I think. Because of the whole fairy tale theme and all this different whimsical moments in the show, Chuck and Jamie must have had so much fun writing this, because you hear a lot of fairy tale references and a bunch of fun little one-line gags and things like that. And they were some of the one-line gags that you would normally think would not work very well actually work, especially for comedic moments. Like there was quite a few one-liners like Balderdash, or someone was referred to as a PYT at one point. If you know the Michael Jackson song PYT, Pretty Young Thing, that got me, I lost my shit. And then I think one of my favorite things were some of the Disney quotes and one-liners that were in this, and there was quite a few. There was There was, very early on, there was one, Tale as Old as Time was used. Later on, there was one, A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes was used. This script had so much fun. It decided to take a little bit of liberties on it and be... I haven't watched the Japanese before, unfortunately. I feel like it took a little bit of liberties on it and played it a little bit loosely, but not too much that you lose the entire consistency and the entire theme and pace of the show. So I really have to commend the writing on this one. It was so much fun. Like, I have so many notes. Oh my god, another fun one that I'm pretty sure we all died at. If you boys do a good job, I'll give you some bouncy time later. Like, this show and the writing has so much fun. And I think that's definitely one of the highlights of the dub on this one, is the writing and what it decided to do with it. But, even for an 8-year-old dub, I think it still holds pretty well, in all honesty. There might be one or two small hiccups here or there, but otherwise than that, it's so enjoyable to me.
I have to largely agree with Stephanie on a lot of points. It definitely sounds, casting-wise, like a 2012 Funimation dub. I mean, there's just so many names that went on to do bigger shows, and they're just, it's nothing, I would say that it's adventurous, but you don't really need something adventurous right here. You need something that's just sort of settled in and sounds familiar. And yeah, I can't think of a bad performance in this entire show. It's solidly cast. It is excellently directed. And the writing is definitely more liberal than most dubs that you see, but yeah, the fact that they took the liberties with it really made the difference with it. And there were some times I just almost bust my gut laughing just at the most random thing that they would say. One part that I really, really liked is that they're talking to Ryoko and they mention that, hey, maybe you should, you and Ryoshi were meant for each other. And she straight up goes, hell no. So...
Yep. Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. I think that was a nice touch to it. So yeah, it's a nice little dub. It's a nice little show, and I had fun with it. I do have a bit of minor issues with it, but we'll get to that coming up next.
Yeah, no, this is a dub that is a lot of fun, and that's what I think goes into it. I don't think that the fun necessarily 100% detracts from the drama in the show, because there are points of the show that are genuinely very heavy, and when we get to those characters...
You're right. Like, as fun as and as many liberties as the show did take on the directing and the writing front, it still didn't detract it when it actually needed to have those drama moments.
Yes.
Because there were moments that it was surprisingly dark.
Yep.
Yeah, this show is a show that I think a lot of people don't, like... Okay, a big thing about this show is that it was done by JC staff, and there's a point later on in the show, I think it's in episode 7 or 8, where this little kid comes around looking for a bride.
Oh god.
And we're not talking about that character. We're not talking about those characters. One, fuck that butler.
Fuck that butler. So bad.
Two, a big thing of this show is that section features cameos from not only characters that have already been in the show at that point, but the cast of Toradora and a certain scientific railgun show up. So this is technically in canon. There's like a bunch of canon insoaks, and so a lot of people, or that I've at least talked to, compare this show to Toradora and the railgun franchise. And in a lot of cases, there are so many people that praise the Toradora dub as being spectacular, one of the best out there. I don't know how many people praise the Index Railgun franchise dubs, because number one, looking at Raildex as how the fuck do I watch this is like asking an anime fan to perform a to perform brain surgery.
You're
gonna need at least like 2 wikis and a beer. So I think in a lot of cases that this dub, because it is from that pedigree of, hey, this show looks like and has a lot of staff from those 2 shows, let's compare those dubs. And do I think that this is necessarily as strong as, say, something like Toradora? I don't think so. Like, Toradora is its own animal, but it's also a completely different type of show from this.
Right.
This show leans a lot more into its comedy, but has a lot of really heavy moments. And I do think that this isn't the fault of the dub. I think this is more the fault of the show, is that it is only 12 episodes long and it ends very openly. Yep. And despite having completed novels just after when this aired, this is a series that's going to go on my 7 Seas surveys now for light novels, because I didn't realize all the light novels were done and there's only 12 of them.
Okay.
This show leans a lot into its comedy, and the dub does too, but I don't think it ever detracts from the main show. There's a lot of really funny one-liners. There's references to other Funimation shows that were out at the time that I noticed. There's a Sergeant Frog reference. There's one of my other favorite moments in the show is between Otsu and that butler.
Yes,
where they ask if you have a name like Sebastian. Like, there's an overt reference to other Funimation properties.
I wrote that line down specifically because I wanted to bring it up. It was the narrator, and because Otsu was talking to the butler character, and all she says is, "A butler named Sebastian? Well, that's original."
No. Yeah. And I think he makes, does he make a Rin Daughters of Mnemosyne joke back at her, of all things?
I don't know.
I don't know what he says back to Otsu. Like, I couldn't actually decipher what that joke was. But there's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of fun ways to say boobs in this show.
Dumplings.
Dumplings. That we'll get into in a little bit. Because that actually has a very specific joke as a reason.
Oh, man. That's great.
I had some other one-liners written down in here. Neko might be Puss in Boots, but we all know who the real Puss is. Yep. She's also... a woman's jealousy is blacker than the ocean's chasm. You can run screaming now. Another one. Somebody in the walla of this, I don't know if Hardy, if you caught it.
I know I did.
Is the second time they're going through Onigashima High, and the big boar guy hits somebody very quietly in the walla of the background. Ow, my spleen!
No, they had
there's
fun
a lot
with
clearly they had fun doing this stuff. This dub, there are shows that you can tell the cast was having a good time on it. This is something that I felt like it, and I do think that this is probably one of the Jamie dubs that I like a lot as a writer, because Jamie is a very polarizing writer, and a lot of people don't like her stuff because it's very humorous like this, and it doesn't always fit the tone of the show. This is the show where I think, it balanced between the two enough.
Yes.
So I don't have a lot of problems there. Maybe there's, a casting or two that maybe sometimes the performance might be an itty-bitty bit, not as good as the rest of them, but I still genuinely enjoyed myself.
Can I just give a quick shout-out to Prince Charming in episode 1?
Oh, okay, yeah, we do have to
bring this up real fucking quick, please?
Oh yes,
yeah, because
yes.
we lost our actual garbage when we realized who that was.
I will say this.
Okay.
I gotta say, you gotta love any dub that involves Kyle Phillips being kicked in the face multiple times.
Bravo, sir.
It's not even that he gets kicked in the face multiple times. It's that he learns he has a fetish for getting his face kicked in.
Yes.
I love it. Again.
Oh, yeah!
Again! One more time.
What an electric performance. And then the narrator at the end being like, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Speaking of...
Love you, KP.
Can I just say... Kyle Phillips MVP. We all collectively lost our shit probably when we knew it was him.
I find it really funny that Brittany Karbowski was a Cinderella and they both play characters that have electric railgun powers.
Fuck. You're right. Jesus Christ. Oh god. Alright.
While you all sit and stew in that, let's talk about our first set of characters. Well, one of them's not a character. There is Machiko Himura, Rampu Aragami, who I think I spelled his name wrong in here.
I thought it was
Rampu Aragami, and because there is no better place to put this the narrator.
Because the narrator is a character in and of themselves. And it's glorious.
Yeah.
I have one request. Instead of putting the Monty Python god here, can
What do
we
you
put
want?
the Disney's fairy godmother or something like that?
Yes.
You know, well, I mean, we could. I just hope Disney doesn't try and fucking flag us.
No, we're not playing the music. We're just putting an image. It's fine.
Okay, I'll make it work somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
But yes,
Machiko
I like that
Himura. Machiko Himura is a poor girl who sees Ryoshi coming out of his room, thinks that the whole place is his and is her meal ticket. Because she is poor, her dad put them in debt, and daddy's gone out for cigarettes. And he's not coming back.
Dad went out for milk and is never coming home.
He went out for milk and ciggies, and he's not coming back. Rampu is the principal of the school who helped found the Otogi Bank. He also is basically implied to be like the Yakuza that runs the town. Mm-hmm. He's a dirty old man who likes the girl members of the Otogi Bank. Just to quickly go over their fairy tales, Rampu is based off the genie from Aladdin.
Is he really?
Really?
Yes, his name is literally Lamp.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't know
Rampu
that.
is just Lamp.
Oh.
Also, if you watch the episode about Ringo's backstory, she specifically has a dream of him as a genie meeting her and says to him,
Oh, shit.
is it true that after working here for 3 years, you can have 3 wishes
I
granted?
get it now. Okay. Now I
Yeah,
get it.
also his name is literally Lamp.
I didn't know that, alright? I don't know anything about Japanese outside of basic weeaboo shit, alright?
Machiko is actually based off of the Little Match Girl. And for those of you who do not know what the Little Match Girl is, a story by Hans Christian Andersen that a lot of people like to tote out around Christmas time, of all things.
Okay.
And it is a story about a little girl who sells matches, and she doesn't want to go home because she failed to sell them, and her dad's going to beat her.
Oh.
She huddles down in the street and lights a match. She starts seeing visions of a happy life in the warmth. She sees a shooting star, and she remembers that her grandmother says that seeing a shooting star means that someone's going to heaven, and in the last of her flames, she sees happy visions of her grandmother. She then proceeds to die.
Okay.
And gets taken and is greeted in heaven by her grandmother, and a bunch of people walk by her frozen corpse and go, gee, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, the fairy tales of old were very dark back then.
No, yeah, like...
Yeah.
Hans Christian becoming a human is... Hans Christian's become human is... Mermaid become human is a very painful experience. I was making a Detroit become human joke in there and it died.
Yeah.
Just like the Little Match Girl.
I know nothing about Detroit Become Human, alright? So that... You're talking to a girl who's a casual video game person, alright?
At least Hardy got a dark chuckle out of that.
Yeah. Actually, I confused it for No Longer Human, but that's a different author entirely.
Osamu Dazai has entered the chat.
Osamu Dazai intensifies.
Osamu Dazai has entered the chat. Playing Rampu is our Bruce Elliott, playing Machiko is Sherry Lee, and playing our wonderful narrator is Lucy Christian. Our Bruce Elliott, you'll know his characters such as Yujiro Kito in Barakamon, Counselor Fidel in Heavy Object, and Conrad in Romeo x Juliet. Sherry Lee, you'll know his characters such as Lucy Heartfilia in Fairy Tail, Road Camelot, and the Gray Man franchise. And because it is officially spoopy season, Sunako Kirishiki in Shiki.
Yes.
Lucy Christian, you'll know as characters such as Erica Hartman in Strike Witches, Yggdrasil in Radiant, and Yoko Takaoka in Smile Down the Runway, which is really funny because this, I think, kind of came up because I talked about this show while talking about Smile Down the Runway.
Oh yeah. Like,
Hardy, you get to go first this time.
Okay. I'll be very quick. These are all really good casting choices all around the board. With Lamp, our Bruce Elliott has certain Lamp.
Mr. Lamp.
Yes, I need an amber lamps. But
Did you know that the German word for ambulance is Krankenwagen?
I do now, and now I can.
Summon the Krankenwagen.
Someone's walking. But anyways, no, our Bruce Elliott has played no shortage of pervy old men, and here he is on point right here, doing his best pervy old man voice. With Cherami, she's played her no fair shortage of spunky young girls, and here she is playing a spunky young girl, who actually is one of the only 2 panty flashes in the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
And hers
Now,
being on purpose.
Yeah. Fun fact I learned, there's a difference in standards and practices between underwear and swimsuits, even though they cover or expose the same amount of flesh.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was watching. That's why when you watch something like Super Hex Arrows, which is airing right now, they will completely cover up any underwear shots, but bikinis are okay for some strange reason. I have no idea why.
Bikinis are swimwear versus underwear.
Yeah. One you're supposed to wear on the outdoors, one on the indoors, even though they cover and expose the same amounts of places. But that's weird. That's just something that I learned. Interesting enough.
Probably because bikinis and bathing suits are more normalized compared to seeing
Right.
underwear. So I mean that's
Yeah.
fair.
There's no shortage of fan service in this show, anyways. So.
No, not.
Yeah.
Or according to the narrator, fan disservice.
Oh. We'll get to them later. No, because Machiko only shows up in the last episode, and which ironically takes place after the big final confrontation, which is weird. You usually would do that for something like an OVA, but it's the actual last episode of the show. She does make an impression, but it's not as much as she could have if she had appeared earlier. So, let's talk about the narrator. I honestly was thinking of suggesting to Megan that we actually talk about her last, because she has by far the most lines of any character in the show. And, oh boy, she's just such a troll. She's such a troll that even the characters break the fourth wall to stare at her. Lucy Christian's just so good here as the sarcastic, snippy fairy godmother type character. And I think her writing is the best. I think her snips are the best. The one thing I'm critical of is I think they give it too much of a good thing, because she does talk over everything, and she talks over the actors so much that you can't. A lot of times you can't make out what the characters are saying.
I guess my question though then is that a decision the dub did, or is it just the dub going with what the Japanese did?
See, I'm under the assumption that it's the latter, but I
Yeah,
haven't
that's the
watched the
thing.
Japanese. But
So, at that point, I think it's just the Japanese, and they're trying to stay consistent with it. You know what I mean?
yeah, but it does. If I was to be critical of the show, it does do it a disservice, because she will openly comment on things that are blatantly there. Like, here is Ringo in her school swimsuit. Yes, I can see that. Or here Ryoshi is running down the street. Yes, I can see that. You don't have to tell us. Show, don't tell. But I mean, she is the most hilarious character in the show, so you give it some leeway. At the same time, it can be sort of a drag to get through. But in the end, all's well that ends well.
I'm gonna start with our Bruce Elliott as well. He is a fun, pervy, crotchety old man. Our Bruce Elliott is good as crotchety old men, like, a good percentage of the time. Like, there's not a lot to say about... I can't call him by his actual name now. His name is Lamp. Thank you, Hardy. As Lamp. Because he only comes in really when it's convenient to either him or the plot in general. And just to show, like, a little bit of minor power or authority. But I will admit, his little pervy moments that he has is kind of adorable. Because I think we really only have 2 interactions with him. 3 if you count Ringo's dream. One being when the club president gives the report and he's just sitting there, like, I did make the request to have one of the girls in the club to come give me the report next time. And then the other one being what Megan had mentioned before, when Megan or Hardy, I can't remember who now, when Ringo goes to him, it was Megan, I'm sorry. When Ringo goes to him and is like, hey, I heard that if you are a part of the club and work for like 3 years, you can get 3 wishes. I want you to grant 1 wish for me now. And he's just like, oh, I don't know. And then Ringo, just with a stupid gremlin smile, just goes to him and starts playing the granddaughter act. And he's just like loving every moment of that. It's so funny. Like, he does give off the authoritative figure role nicely, but of course, because he's a bit of a pervert, it's also hilarious. Cherami as Machiko is also, I think, rather enjoyable. She's very energetic and charming, and she's just has such this positive outlook and this positive attitude about her, that when you find out her deal and what actually is happening, you do feel bad for her, even though some of the shenanigans she pulls to try and get Ryoshi to marry her and everything are very, very questionable. Running toast in the mouth, trying to tackle him, showing panties, date in the park. Oh, it's so hot, unbuttoned shirt. Like,
with her name on her bra and panties too.
Her bra, yep. Like, her methods are very...
Does she write her name in all of her panties and her bras?
Like, her methods are very questionable, but she, in her own mind, she means well, and she's very entertaining. Like Hardy said, though, like, she's just kind of there for 1 episode, and she doesn't have a ton to do. I think the biggest role that Machiko does serve for that final episode is a little bit of a push for Ryoko, to kind of get her figure out her feelings for Ryoshi a little bit more, and gives a little cute ending to that episode. I will admit, I'm very, very sad that we're talking about the narrator now, because this is the best performance of the show. You cannot tell me otherwise.
I didn't know where to put her otherwise.
I know.
I
know. Like, narrator characters are very difficult because it's like, where the fuck do you put them in a cast list like that? And it's just like, where does she go? But oh my god, Lucy is just a delight. She is such a delight as this snarky, sassy, savage narrator that's very aware of everything. Like, every time an episode starts, and you start with the generic intro from episode 1 about her describing the city and the high school, and then every episode after that, it changes. She's like, oh, you already know this already. It's like, yada, yada, yada. It's like, oh my god. No, like, the shift in the intros every single time is just so hilarious. The narrator as a character is very self-aware, and it doesn't treat it as a traditional fairy tale. Some of the mannerisms and the way she speaks and tells the story is reminiscent to a narrator of a fairy tale, but you have the added twist in this case of her just being an absolute fucking troll. And I think this show preceded Kami-sama Kiss, to which, if I remember right, Lucy is also the narrator for Kami-sama Kiss. So, this created a fun little trend, I think, after the fact. And, no, Lucy is just a delight as narrator. Like, she has some of the best quips and the best lines in the whole show. Like, she had the Sebastian line, she had, some of the things like A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes, or, Tale as Old as Time, I think. She had the PYT line. I think Lucy got to have the most fun out of everybody in this show because she had such great lines and dialogue to work with. I will agree with Hardy on the issue of her coming in a little too much in terms of speaking, and especially over characters and the whole don't show, like, talk less, show more kind of deal. But again, the problem is it's probably what happened with the Japanese, so it had to transfer over to the English. So for consistency's sake, it's unfortunate. But I do agree with Hardy's sentiment on that. But Yeah, like, the group of characters is great and I love them, but Lucy, MVP of Okami-san, you cannot tell me otherwise.
Yeah, no, I think she's also the MVP of this. I'll be really quick about Rampu. Arbertelia does a really good creepy old man. He is kind of creepy. He's a lot of fun the few times he pops up, so good job there. Cherami as Machiko is a lot of fun. It reminds me a lot of her, like, spunky girl stuff, and, like, for some reason I was like, SAO bloopers Asuna came to mind. Especially when she's like, did you see my panties?
Yeah, okay, I get it. I can hear it, for sure.
She's a lot of fun, too. I do wish that this character showed up more, and I feel like in the novel she probably was a bigger character going forward, but of course she comes in, like, right as the show ends. Let's talk about the MVP of the section, Lucy Christian, who has a lot of fun. And I love her, like, kind of old lady voice that she uses for this. Yeah. It's so much fun to listen to. She has some of the best one-liners. Is it a little bit overbearing sometimes? Yeah. But I think that the trade-off of her delivery being so well, you kind of look past it. Mm-hmm. She just has some really fucking great lines. I particularly like her the best during the episode where the butler keeps trying to get them married.
Yep.
And I love how she's like, are we going to talk about how these are children? Isn't this weird? Like, her being the audience, like, do you fuckers not think this is weird, basically?
Do you think this is okay?
Hey?
Like, she's
like,
very...
That shit
She really is, like,
great.
the audience surrogate, 100%, for all intents and purposes.
Well, I mean, she calls out Mimi's fans as pedophiles. She calls out Ryoshi for being a stalker.
No, she doesn't call them pedophiles. Ringo calls them pedos.
Oh, okay.
That's
but
what
she
it was,
does call Ryoshi a stalker, which
Yes.
is, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The amount of self-awareness that went into this is top notch.
Yes, 100%.
She is the one, however, that does call Ryoshi a puss.
Yes.
No, it was Neko a puss.
No, she calls Ryoshi one.
No.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
because
You're
what
right.
was the exact line again?
It's he might be puss in boots, but we all know who the real puss is. She calls him a push.
Ryoshi calls him a pussy.
She calls Ryoshi a push. Yeah, she calls him a pussy. There's another part that got me really good too, where she's so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
100%.
like somebody needs to make a super cut of all of her best one-liners. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
please.
Like
No.
she is absolutely the best performance in the show, and it sucks that we're talking about her so early.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is really good, but like she's another level of good. Like a lot of people I think would know Lucy Christian for her more like heroic characters, like your Ochakos, your Ducks, and stuff. But
Namis.
like your Namis. But this is like peak comedy Lucy to
Yes.
me.
So,
Comedy troll
so,
Lucy.
so if you had to choose between Lucy Christian, Ian Sinclair, or David Wald as the best narrator, gun to the head.
See, here's the problem. I would.
I'm
be
sorry,
biased.
I'm sorry, David. I have to pick Lucy.
See, here's the thing. I can only say Lucy because I haven't seen Ian or David as narrator characters yet, so I can only pick Lucy.
Chris George is the narrator of Danuit Tessa sitting in the back with his coffee.
Also true.
He's just like, yep. I'm not even fucking going in there.
He's like, I'm just gonna sit here casually. No,
I'm not.
no, he
gonna
doesn't
lie.
have his.
He's also the black. Isn't he also the Black Clover narrator?
Yes, he is,
yes.
actually.
No. Chris.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you actually had to ask me who my favorite narrator voice is, it's actually Chris George.
No.
because his narrator voice,
It's
pardon my
good.
French, is like buttered sex.
Like, no.
It is very nice.
Megan, he's not sitting in the back with a cup of coffee. He's sitting there with a nice glass of scotch.
Touche.
Just having a grand old time watching this fight commence. He's just sitting here, just casually like, yes, indeed.
Yes. I'm sorry, his narrator voice is really good.
It is. I will agree with you.
We don't get to talk about it enough, but like Chris George's narrator voice.
Yes,
Good shit.
please. Chef's keys.
Chef's keys. Are we ready to move on to the next section of characters?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's flip the page onto a new set of fairy tales. We have Saburo Nekomiya, who is a boy that Ryoko saved 3 years ago. He then wants to return the favor by teaching Ryoshi how not to be a pussy.
Yes.
Slash fight. There is Yukime Murano, who is Ryoshi's aunt. She runs an apartment building with her house husband. She's also a writer under the pen name Yuki, who writes teenage girl romance novels that Ryoko likes. And then, oh good lord,
We have the dumplings.
the Dumpling Brigade. Two of them that are very precious to the entire male
Population of the high school.
station of the school. Momoko Kibitsu, who is the head of the student council or student disciplinary force. And to quote, it's not just because she has good boobs. She's got personality, something, and a whip.
Yep. Basically, she has
At the end, a whip portion from the three guys that always follow her is what killed me.
To sum up Momoko, she has a body that doesn't quit, and she will kick your ass.
And a whip.
Again, she will kick your ass. So boys will line up in droves.
Please, sir, may I have another? Playing Saburo Nekomiya, who is based on Puss in Boots, is Jerry Jewell. Playing Yukime Murano, who is based on the Yuki-onna, is Lydia McKay. And playing Momoko Kibitsu, who is based off of Momotaro, is Stephanie Young. Jerry Jewell, you know his characters such as Kiyosoma in Fruits Basket, Shinya Hiragi in Seraph of the End, and Priapus in Maria the Virgin Witch. Lydia McKay, you'll know his characters such as Madam Red in Black Butler, Slice in My Hero Academia Heroes Rising, and Katharina in Trinity Blood. Stephanie Young, you'll know his characters such as KK in Blood Blockade Battlefront, Madam in Human Lost, and the Red Queen in Restaurant to Another World. And before we move on into actually talking about the characters, just to go over the myths behind everything. Puss in Boots is been retold in a lot of different languages, but it is based off of an Italian story. To give a quick summary, it is about a anthropomorphic cat who is given to the youngest son in a miller's family, who uses trickery and deceit to gain wealth, power, and the hand of a princess for his low-born master. Literally, this cat tricks people into getting his man some pussy. Ultimate Wingman 2020.
And I do have to bring it out that a live-action film of Puss in Boots was created. Do you have any idea who starred in the title role?
Oh, God.
Please say Brad Pitt.
Christopher Walken.
Oh my God!
Did he use his weapon of choice?
Of course he did. It's like, I'll have some boots. Yeah.
Also, of course, Antonio Banderas.
Yes.
Yes. Everybody loves when Toei's mascot shows up in the Shrek movies.
Yes. Yeah. You're talking to my guy all wrong. You say that again, I will stab you in the face with the soldering iron.
The Yuki-onna has a lot of stories, but they are essentially the Japanese version of a snow woman. They've been used in a lot of media. Interviews with Monster Girls has one. Mm-hmm. And then Momotaro is interesting. Momotaro is essentially the Japanese folklore of a boy born from a giant peach, which was found by floating down river by an old childless woman. They essentially open it up, and they name him Momotaro, which is Momo, the word for peach, and Taro, the oldest son of the family. He essentially leaves to go fight a band of Oni, or demons, and on his way there, he meets a talking dog, a talking monkey, and a talking pheasant, who agree to help him in his quest in exchange for a portion of his millet dumplings, or his rations. So essentially, it's basically, what was that one movie as a kid, like Thumbelina? It's Thumbelina, but Japanese fairy tale and talking animals.
You right.
And now this becomes really funny because, man, if this goes based on the fairy tale, she really was giving those boys some of her dumpling times.
Bouncy time. Yeah,
bouncy time.
Because there are 3 characters part of the whole fan club squad that are legit basically referred to as the dog, the pheasant, and the monkey.
Justin Cook, Justin Pate, and Josh Greeley.
Yep. So.
That would have been great if they got all 3 Justins to
damn, that
would
have been funny.
Josh the combo breaker. Yeah, your name starts with a J. Come on in, my person.
Yeah. What's funny is that before season 5 came out, the very last episode of Samurai Jack was based on Momotaro.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Jack and the Baby.
And this time, Momotaro is a very, very busty girl, which before we even start, so we're not talking about the character who plays the butler, but there's that speech about boobs and gravity at poor Momoko's expense.
Yup.
And I fucking lost it.
Yup.
I love that, young master, we live on a planet that unfortunately has gravity.
Basically, yep. Fucking Ken Williams as the butler, by the way. Fucking shitlord
Steph,
guy.
you get to go first. Hardy went first last time, so now it's your turn.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Cute. I'm probably gonna keep these relatively quick because majority of these roles and performances are rather small. Lydia McKay. I'll start with her. She's. I had a note, didn't I? Yes. Oh god, it's a line note too. So Lydia is always such a delight to see and hear in English dubs. I love her to pieces. She's so adorable. As Yukime, Yukime is very can be sassy. She can be very blunt. She also does not have a filter. Yukime does not have a goddamn filter. And similar to another character later on in the dang show named Little Red Riding Hood. But Lydia just plays it so fun and fantastic, and she's just very blunt and out there. And by the way, Lydia calling Ryoko baby girl is both funny and very creepy. Because in episode 4, when we're introduced to Yukime, she refers to Ryoko as baby girl at one point as like a weird sign of like affection / flirting, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? It was a delight though, and Lydia was just so much fun to watch. Jerry is our Puss in Boots here. He's very delightful. He reminds me of like this cunning and sly cat, and it works very well. Probably because he was also Kyo, but then again, Kyo is an angry little gremlin half the time. But this is more.
They're both cats.
They are both cats, but Kyo's more of an angry boy than Nekomiya is. Nekomiya is just very, very sly, very nonchalant, kind of. Not aloof. Aloof's not the right word. He's very determined and dedicated too. Just like Ryoshi, you're gonna protect her. Do you really want to let Ryoko down? And he's very, very good at motivating. He can get a little bit cocky at times, mostly when training Ryoshi. But it's a very fun, well-balanced character. The only drawback is his backstory just magically appears. It's like, what? That's more on the show, though. But Jerry is a lot of fun. The MVP of this section, though, is definitely Stephanie Young as Momoko. Because, oh, sweet lord. She is mature and graceful, and very authoritative. But man, is she such a flirt, and she knows it. She has
I think the show straight out implies that she is bisexual.
Oh, 100%, because of her relationship to Ryoko. Like 100%, it implies that that Momoko is bisexual because she just like outwardly flirts with Ryoko. Seemingly, you think to mess with her, but dear God, she's probably some sort of disaster bi or some shit. But no, like Stephanie is such a delight. She knows what she has, and she knows how to flaunt it. So she has this air of confidence to her, which I absolutely love in Momoko's character. She's just like, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it right, and if you are good boys, you'll get bouncy time later. Like, she knows what she has to do. She knows what gets people to help her out. Like, she's not afraid of that. She embraces it, and Stephanie is just a delight watching as Momoko just flaunt her assets basically and know what she's up to. But no, all three of these performances are so much fun. But yeah, Stephanie Young knows how to fucking flaunt and shake what her mama gave her at this point. So yes.
Hardy, talk about this Momo.
This Momo, yeah, and her peaches.
Her dumplings, you gotta get right.
Dumplings, right. No, Stephanie Young playing a beautiful big-breasted woman. What a shocker!
Dun dun dun.
She's basically got it down to an art form at this point. And it just... She's been in how many episodes of One Piece as Nico, Robin? I mean...
A lot.
A lot, yeah. And so... I think it's almost kind of stereotypical to find the gorgeous, buxom woman and cast them as Stephanie Young. But, I mean, I'm not complaining. She knows what she's doing, and she does it well. So, I know a certain friend of mine who is more than happy to listen to her play these kind of performances. But, yeah, she's really
Dawn,
good.
you say?
Calling people out now.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Nah, we love you, Dawn. Yeah. I just now realized that Jerry Jewell plays both a cat character in this and Fruits Basket, and now I can't unsee it. Just imagine Kyo-sama wearing his hat and his boots and his straps and fighting with a mostly kick-based style.
Fuck! Don't do this to me. I love Kyo.
Now you need fan art.
Yes.
Commissioners,
I need this
please.
now. Let's combine Nekomiya and fucking Kyo. Let's do this, man. Oh, God.
Just have them
Yeah.
outfit swap.
Outfit
Yeah.
swap. Yes, perfect.
Yeah. No, I honestly think that Neko needs to be the 9th companion of Okami-san. Because technically Ryoshi was
No,
the
yeah.
8th.
I agree.
That's like-
Just have him around more often.
Yeah, Nekomiya
Like, he
would
need-
be a fun addition to the whole show if he stayed longer. 100%.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he actually goes to the same school, but
I think he does.
does.
I think it's implied he does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like he has the same uniform as the others, I think, but...
yeah, he needs to be the Otogi Bank's Jinbei. Finally joining the crew after all these years.
Yes!
Yes. 100%, I agree with this statement.
But yeah, no, I like how Jerry played him as a sort of wimp when Ryoko first saved him, and then how he has this exuberance about him when he's like, hey, you know what? I ran away from her and I abandoned her. I need to make up for that, and now I will be this bolder than life character, and I will teach her quote unquote boyfriend how to fight and defend himself and defend her. So
Yes.
mhm.
Do the
And,
thing that I wasn't able to do.
yes, and he's good at it. Let's just say that he got really good in 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm kind of ashamed of this. I kind of forgot Yuki Mei was actually a character.
Yuki Mei doesn't do a ton.
She doesn't really, and I have no idea why she's based on the Yuki Onna, because she's not really icy. She's just sort of a what would I say?
I think it's because Yuki Ona's sometimes haunt inns, and she basically runs an inn.
Oh, that might be the connection.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. She runs
Yeah.
basically a boarding house.
She's not. She's more of an introvert, like like an insider, not willing to leave the house or anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, now that I remember, I think Lydia did an okay job, but I completely spaced out on this character and forgot. So sorry, Lydia. I apologize.
I mean, it's fair. Yuki
It's
Mei doesn't do
okay.
a ton.
Yeah, she does not show up a lot.
She's predominantly really in, I think, like episode 4, and then in the last episode. For,
The
like, a
last
hot
episode.
minute. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all I have to say.
Yeah, no, I'll start with Yuki Mei. I think that Lydia does a good job. I like when she calls out Otsu for being selfish.
Yep.
I thought that was a really good performance and a good line there because Otsu's doing all this shit. Nekomiya is such a cutie. I put Jerry's other cat guy, Shinya, because he's got the sniper rifle.
Oh, you're right. Fuck. Sniper rifle. Yep.
I like Jerry's performance. It kind of does, of all things, remind me a little bit of Antonio Banderas in Shrek.
You know,
Like the bravado.
now that you
like
say
the
it.
bravado, like he's clearly putting on an act. And I like when Ryuko thanks him, he puts his hat over his eyes like a badass to not show his tears, and he walks away.
Oh,
And he's just
you know,
really
you're
cool,
right.
and he's just got this level of like, I am so cool. Also, I love that. I love how he also taunts him. It's like, Well, you know, if you want to get better, you're gonna have to dodge, and I've got steel-toed boots on, and they're gonna hurt after a while. To which, how Ryoshi did not come out with cracked ribs. And then, let's talk about the star of this section, Momoko and her Momokos.
They're dumplings. Get it right, God.
Her dumplings, her Peach Blossom Highway.
Shit. Those huge tracts of land.
Those huge tracts of land, those boys are gonna get the Phantom 5 up in them in no time flat.
Gonna have that bounty time, right?
Bouncy, bouncy, boing, oingy, boingy. Just the amount of time that show like shows you them jiggling, good lord.
And they
They're
have their
bouncy,
own sound
trouncy,
effect.
flouncy, flouncy. Fun.
Yeah.
They have their own sound effect too, which is hilarious.
When even your boobs have walla. If these girls could talk, they would have some stories. I think that she's a ton of fun. Do I think that she makes Momoko sound a little bit too old to be a high schooler? Yes. Does Momoko look like a high schooler? Absolutely not.
And that's probably the point, yeah.
Okay, this is gonna be a joke for anybody who's actually played the Fire Emblem DLC. She's like the Balthus of Otogi's Academy. She's Balthus, a 27-year-old man who's going to school with a bunch of 17 and 18.
You're fucking right, and I haven't even finished Ashen Wolves.
She's just Balthus.
Oh, I haven't even finished Ashen Wolves, and you're right. Oh no. Shit.
Stan Balthus, the Milk Hunter.
Oh no.
Hardy, you would absolutely love Balthus. He's just a dude who wants to fight and chase women who are older than him, but not as old as his mom.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny.
He's hysterical. Yeah, so no, Stephanie is having a ton of fun as Momoko. She's absolutely fantastic. I think she steals the show a couple of times with her.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like she is chewing that scenery 100%. Like,
It's delicious.
She's gotta keep the girls well fed. I absolutely loved it. I think that she's such a blast, and I always kind of looked forward to her being on the screen, despite her being a character, like a fan service type character who I wouldn't usually like. There's the tongue-in-cheek aspect to herself. Like, there's a lot of times where fan service characters, you can clearly tell that, like, they're uncomfortable with their bodies, and they don't really like being in it. She plays Momoko, and the show plays up Momoko as someone who's like, yeah, I know I am hot. And guys think it's hot that I'm hot.
Yep.
And I'm gonna whip them and beat the shit out of them. Like, I also like that the little touch to the fact that she's Momotaro is that she goes Oni hunting at Onigashima.
Yep.
So, speaking of Onigashima...
And then there's these assholes.
To say, and then there's this asshole is a huge understatement about the next character, and I do want to take a moment to be absolutely serious. This next character, we are going to have to talk about something that is incredibly triggering to some people.
Yes.
I did make an allusion to it earlier on, but...
An allusion to it? You flat out said it.
I flat out said what it was. Reiko Kokono and Shiro Hitsujika. Reiko is a girl that goes to Onigashima who essentially adapts her personality to be what any guy she's with wants her to be. And Shiro is the student council president / leader of Onigashima High. He is also Ryoko's ex. And it is heavily implied, if not outright stated, that Shiro raped or sexually assaulted Ryoko when they were first years in middle school. And when Ryoko tried to tell her classmates, nobody believed her because Shiro was so well liked, and he had planted that she was just being a vindictive ex and framing him. And it caused her to essentially leave the school she was at and transfer over to being at the school where she would meet Ringo, and it still traumatizes Ryoko till the day in the show. Playing Reiko is Leah Clark, and playing Shiro is Ian Sinclair. Leah Clark is characters such as Miyako Miyazaki in Bamboo Blade, Mayu in Death Parade, and Nora Ardent in Spice and Wolf. Shiro is based off of one of two things. He is the boy who cried wolf, or the wolf in sheep's clothing.
A little bit of both, I would say.
He's he's a mixture of both. He is the one character besides Reiko who is never given an exact fairy tale.
Yeah.
It's implied he's the boy who cried wolf because obviously, he essentially makes it so that it looks like Ryoko cried wolf. Mm-hmm. But he's also the wolf in sheep's clothing because everybody thinks he's nice. He's also he dresses in white, and part of his last name literally is the Japanese word for sheep.
Yeah, makes sense.
Hitsuji is the word for sheep. Yeah, Hitsuji is the word for sheep.
Checks out.
Yeah.
He is played by Ian Sinclair, who's played characters such as Dallas Chenoward in Bakano, Free Underbar in Fairygon, and Toji Ato in Tokyo Gardens. Mm-hmm. I guess I'll actually go first in this section.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'll start with Leah, who has to go from being the cutesy, like, girly girl voice, and she's like, oh, I was taken, like, I was Shiro's ex, he did all these nasty things to me, and she has to act friendly and kind and warm and, like, the cute, like, the girl who's essentially like the voice of the girl who's been mistaken for a delinquent, but she's actually like super sweet and super nice. And then she immediately has to turn it into being this girl who is an absolute monster, and she wants to torture Ryoko. She's angry, a bitter thug kind of voice. And though she's only in a couple episodes, I think that Leah does a good job definitely differentiating in the tone of her voice for both of those characters. I think that she gets it across really well. But let's talk about the actual kind of, like, unfortunate star of this section, which is Ian Sinclair as Shiro. Ian Sinclair plays a lot of different types of characters. He's been crazy villains, he's been over-the-top heroes, he's been absolute shitbags, he's been soft-spoken. It's really weird that I feel like this isn't probably one of the most memorable Ian Sinclair performances to me. But it's very much an Ian Sinclair performance that doesn't overwhelm what everybody else is doing. And I think that works in the context of the show. Because Shiro can't stand out. Shiro isn't supposed to stand out because he's trying to do all this shit undercover and be very sneaky about it. But I think the two kind of big moments that he has, the one where Ryoko has amnesia and she runs into him, and he starts talking about how he sexually assaulted her. Yeah. And he's like, I took a taste of her, I ripped and got what I wanted. And then as he's leaving, he's like, well, allegedly anyway. And you kind of hear that tone in his voice where he knows he's covering his ass, but, like, you know he did it. And then there's the part where, I hate to make light of it, because this is a little bit more of a serious section, where Ryoshi punches him and he bleeds and he sees blood on his hand and he kind of loses it at the this is the first time I've ever been injured type of thing. Yeah. And unfortunately the only thing that popped in my head is nobody makes me bleed my own blood from Dodgeball.
You know, even though this is supposed to be serious, we're allowed one.
We're allowed one. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
You're allowed one. It's fine.
Just that whole final scene after that where you just see the mask kind of come off this character finally. Where he's taunting Ryoshi, and then even after Liz kind of stops them, and Leah's just like, oh, well, I guess I wish I tortured them more, and you can kind of hear she's upset. And then you just see that evil look in his face as it cuts away, and he's like, oh, yes. I genuinely really do like these performances, though. Especially, I think Leah and Ian both kind of should get some credit here for having to put on the mask and then having the mask come off. Mm-hmm. Especially Leah, because I genuinely felt that when Reiko, when she stun guns Ryoko in the apartment hurt a lot. Yep. Like, that scene was like a gut punch. Like, she was kind, and she's like, Shiro always said you were so naive.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and then you kind of have this moment of realization with Ryoko, you're like, oh no.
Yeah. What makes it worse is that these two are, you assume that these two are a couple. So they're basically the Joker and Harley Quinn of the show.
Yeah. Pretty much.
True.
That's a really apt
comparison, yeah.
Comparison. So do you want to go, Hardy?
I will, actually. And I'll lead off on that, is that I don't know what Reiko's motives are. I don't know why she would support this man who is so obviously evil. But it speaks a lot to her character that she sticks with him even knowing the full well of the allegations about him. And so it really plays a lot to Leah's performance, because she's done other villainous characters such as what's her name in Dead Man Wonderland. What was her name? It was
Hummingbird.
Yes. Gave us one of the greatest.
God, I was
One of these days we should talk about
night
that
with some people.
Yeah, and
I was
also
talking about that last night with some people.
Yeah.
And somebody posted another one of her lines, and I'm like, that's not even the best Hummingbird line. Let's jerk off. Just jerk off into a bottle of formaldehyde and call it your firstborn.
Yes.
Yeah. But her and of course Himiko Toga.
Yep.
But with those, they're more of like the unsettled psychotic types. With Reiko, it's very cold and demeaning and very intentional. And you can tell when the moment that she betrays Ryoko, that after all the good things that she did for her, that there's no love in this woman's heart. She is just absolutely awful. She's in love with a man who is terrible by all means, and yet she doesn't care. She's okay with it.
Yeah.
And I think Leah plays that amazingly well. Ian Sinclair, boy, howdy.
Oh
He's-
boy, this asshole.
This is the same actor who was Dandy, who was an asshole for a different reason. But just there is no love lost on this guy. He is an attempted rapist, and
If not an actual one.
I think it's in the novels. It's stated that he attempted to but didn't go through with it, and rather he just wanted to really ruin Ryoko's what's the word?
He wanted to ruin her life because she wouldn't
Her
do it.
reputation, yeah.
Yeah,
But
there it is.
like he got off from it more from doing that than he would have if he had actually gone through with it. Like, he's that twisted. But you know, he is, oh good lord, he's such an awful person. And I'm kind of sad that the show ends right as he goes into beast mode against Ryoshi.
Yep.
Because usually in that sort of circumstances where you have the story where the hero stands up to the bully and he gets in a good one, the bully usually breaks down and like, how could you hit me? And it sort of has this vulnerable moment. Shiro does the exact opposite.
Oh boy, he was ready to
You-
fucking go.
No, he's about to go Super Saiyan. And
Yeah, he's ready to fucking kill a bitch.
yeah, and then the story ends. It just ends mid-fight, and we're granted to a little bit of a possible secret on List's part, which I don't really want. Well, I'm gonna talk about him later, but yeah, the whole show ends with like, I'm not gonna stop until I get my revenge, and I'm gonna screw this boy, and sadly we never got the rest of that. But in the meantime, I really like Ian Sinclair as a villain or as a crazy person in general, and I think that he did pull off Shiro really well, even though he's an absolute despicable character. And sometimes you need... It was brought up to me... I'm actually reminded of the Mean Girls commentary. If you want someone who is absolutely despicable, you get the sweetest possible actor to play them.
Not wrong.
Yeah,
No.
they were speaking of Rachel McAdams, and yeah, that's because they're able to. Well, they take direction excellently, and they're able to sort of just shape their personas around. Yeah, because some of the greatest hero characters have been played by some of the scummiest people, but some of the best villains have been played by absolutely wonderful people.
Yep.
So, I think that's in that case, Ian Sinclair kind of pulled it off.
I'll cover Reiko first as well. Leah is a delight. I like how you were saying that it was less psychotic than her characters like Hummingbird and Toga. I agree with that, but I would describe it as more of a subtle psychotic. It's a bit more subtle of a character progression compared to Toga or Hummingbird. Full disclosure, I have not seen the English dub of Dead Man Wonderland. I need to fix this, but I've heard it's glorious. But yeah, I think it's that subtlety in the performance and in the voice that just makes it very convincing with Leah, because she does have the sweet, innocent side, obviously, when she's pretending to be good. And the audience knows right out the gate that it's an act. But she has to...
we see her in an earlier episode where we know
Yes.
that she's evil. Yeah.
We know that... The audience knows out the gate that this is an act. But, so the mission that Leah has with Ryoko is convincing the other characters, which I think she does very, very well. Because, as the outsiders looking into the situation, sure, we can yell at the screen all day and be like, hey, she's bad, she's evil, but so long as the other characters in the show believe that Ryoko is actually innocent and sweet and everything like that, that's the whole point, and Leah does it very, very well. And yeah, I agree, when she fucking tases Ryoko, it's a gut punch. It's a huge gut punch, and it hurts. It hurts so much. But Ryoko doesn't have a ton to do. She's just a secondary antagonist, if anything. And then there's this asshole. God. I don't have a crap ton more to add to what the two of you have already said about Shiro and Ian's portrayal of him. I am gonna say this. It's funny that this dub came out around 2012 or so. If I remember correctly, do you want to know another dub that kind of came out around this time?
Is it
It was
Shiki?
Shiki. And he was...
I was like, of
Yep.
course
And
it is.
I think it came out... Yeah, I think it was around late 2012, I believe. It came out on video, so it was dubbed around the same time. And Ian plays Tatsumi, who is also a piece of shit scumbag character. So the tone of voice is similar between Tatsumi and Shiro. Like, it's very similar. But what Shiro has that Tatsumi doesn't is pure, not really aggression, but like malice. Yep. Like, he has so much malice. Like, Tatsumi's motivations are to make sure that his kind are fine. Like, fuck the humans, his kind are going to live. This is where we live now. So he has his own intentions that are good by his motivations. But Shiro is very malicious. He even stated in the show himself, and to Ryoko, he just wants to see her suffer. He outright says it to her in the show. And you can feel that 100% from Ian. Like, every point of it, it's very calculating, very calm, very malicious. Just this snake just trying to circle around its prey and just get in its coils. Like, it can be so creepy and scary sometimes. And I honestly, the character is a piece of shit, but Ian portrayed him very, very well. It was so convincing. And then going back to the end where Ryoshi punches him in the face and he sees his own blood, that Ian really got scary. Like, he was ready to fucking choke a bitch. And it was so convincing because throughout the course of the show, Shiro is this very calm, very calculated, with like underlying like evil intent, like wanting to see this one person suffer because it's so much fun to him. And then you just see him like kind of start breaking. I'm not gonna say he fully breaks, because he doesn't. He just starts to break a little bit. It's like a little crack that happens in here, and he's like, what? did you do? And that whole sequence and that whole part of the performance that Ian has to give is so convincing, because you start actually getting a little terrified. I know I got a little terrified of Shiro a lot more. So Shiro as a character is an absolute garbage human being. However, Ian Sinclair playing Shiro, this garbage human being, is just absolutely enthralling, and you cannot take your eyes off him. Again, my biggest compliment when it comes to villain roles is, if you want me to punch you into the sun, you have done good, and I want to punch Shiro into the fucking sun. Because I hate this character. He is terrifying and malicious. So, Ian Sinclair, you have done good, sir.
Alright, so let's move on to, now that we've kind of gone through the city, let's get to the members of the Otogi Bank itself, starting with Majolica Lefei and Otsu Suragaya. Majolica is a weird girl who is essentially their tech department.
She's such a goober, I love her.
She's such a fucking weirdo who, like, at one point it's like, are we gonna put lizards in their clothes?
I love
lizards
Majolica.
in their shoes.
I love Majolica.
She's essentially like their weird techie person. She also builds all their weapons and their tech. Otsu is the token maid. She is a girl who repays favors after an oddly dark backstory.
Yeah.
Like her backstory is a boy in her neighborhood she called Big Brother got hit by a truck for her and died, and she could never repay the favor, so now she's obsessed with repaying favors. Playing Majolica Lefei is Lindsay Seidel, and playing Otsu Suragaya is Colleen Clickenbeard. Lindsay Seidel you'll know as characters such as Hazuki Shimada and Baka in Test, Yayoi Kunizuka in the Psychopaths franchise, and Meme Tatane in Salute or Not. Colleen Clickenbeard you'll know as characters such as Momo Yayurozu
Woohoo!
in My Hero Academia, Ashamaru and Seraph of the End in Urza Scarlet and Fairy Tail. Just to briefly go over their fairy tales, Majolica can be the fairy godmother from Cinderella, or she is Morgan Le Fay from King Arthur. Morgan Le Fay being a witch that is Arthur's half-sister, who eventually ends up tricking him into, the good old English biscuit bump.
Incest.
And they have, they're European. As the show says, they're European. Otsu is the, based on the Suru no Onagashi, or the Crane Returns a Favor.
Okay.
And to briefly go over that, the Crane Returns a Favor is the story of a man who saves a crane that has been shot down by hunters. That same night, a beautiful girl appears at his door and says that, hey, now you're married. This season, Tony Kawa is now streaming on Crunchyroll. Essentially, she says that she brings a bag of rice that will fill their stomachs every day. But they're not rich. She says that she's going into a room to make something and that he is not to come in until she finishes. 7 days later, she comes out with a beautiful piece of clothing, but very skinny. He sells it in the market to give them the money that they need. She says, I'm going to do it again. She goes in, but out of his curiosity, he goes in and sees, and it is the crane that he saved. When she sees it, she says that she cannot stay and flies away and never comes back.
Okay.
Yeah, so a crane of many favors. Spaceman Hardy.
Yes.
You're there.
Okay.
Please talk about Otogi Bank's favorite lesbians.
Fuck.
They're dating. You can't convince me otherwise.
I will say this, and I will back it 100%. Majolica is the single hottest character in the entire freaking show.
I mean,
Is it the swirly glasses?
It's just when you see her when she's not in her like witch outfit.
I'm gonna assume when you saw her in the swimsuit.
Yes.
'Cause that's one of the rarest times where she's not in the witch's outfit.
And the maid outfit.
Ooh, true.
Yeah.
She did do the
Yeah.
maid outfit too.
She's actually very, very attractive with the blonde hair and the pretty eyes, a little kitty mouth. She doesn't speak all that much, and when she does, she speaks in sort of this weird, prepare to be amazed voice.
So cute.
Yeah. No, she's absolutely adorable, and completely forgot this was Lindsay Seidel voicing her when I watched it the second time. But yeah, Majolica is like one of my legit favorite characters from the show, even though she doesn't get to do much. And she's a surprisingly strong fighter, considering she took out an entire warehouse full of thugs with her gas canisters.
That was so good.
Yeah.
With fart gas.
Fart gas.
Fart gas.
That's exactly what it was fart gas. To which now I have questions. Majolica, where did you get the fart gas from?
She made it.
From what?
From her butt.
She has a fucking lab.
No, but I'm specifically wondering
her
how
ass.
she got that together.
She canned her own fart stuff.
Lots and lots of Taco Bell.
Yo quiero taco hell.
You quiero taco me. Crusher supreme. I got some tacos and some antagonists.
1 chalupa, 2 chalupa, 3 chalupa, 4. I'm gonna shit all over the floor.
I 100% apologize for that horrible, horrible accent.
Yes, yo quiero
1
Taco
chalupa,
Bell.
2 chalupa, 1 chalupa, 2 chalupa, 3 chalupa, 4. Let's watch Majolica shit all over the floor.
Oh my god.
Alternatively, 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh god damn it.
That's someone's fetish.
Oh god.
But no.
Please no.
But no. No, I love Majolica. I wish she had gotten her own episode like Otohime and Otsu did.
Yeah,
So,
I'm a little sad on that one.
yeah. In fact, I would like to see a second season of this, even though I know it's never going to happen, mainly so that we can get the square off between Ryoshi and Shiro, and also to explore some of the background characters a bit. But but yeah, no, I think Lindsay did fine as Majolica. Otsu is a Colin Klingenbeard performance.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. She's played these characters before. She continues to play these kinds of characters, and she's really good at it. And Otsu's just kind of boring as a character outside of her backstory. So, because someone literally died trying to rescue her, but other than that, she's just kind of there. And at the same time, they kind of use her as this sort of fan service bait in order to dress her up in silly outfits, which both the thugs do and Majolica herself tries to do. So
Fucking Majolica.
yeah, and a maid can't be a nurse, or what was it supposed to be? But yeah, she's just kind of there for the most part.
She really is.
Yeah, and she hits the occasional thug upside the head with a broom, so I guess
She's cute.
that counts. Yeah, she's cute. That's about.
I'm gonna piggyback off of Hardy and go with Otsu first. Yeah, it's Colleen as a Colleen character. Otsu out of all the characters is probably a precious cinnamon roll too good and pure for this earth. That's basically Otsu in a nutshell. She's very soft-spoken, very polite, very courteous, and she just is there as the token maid character, really. But surprisingly, Otsu's backstory is weirdly dark. Like, I completely forgot about her weird backstory okay. So, Otsu's backstory, real quick. When she was younger, she almost got her ass hit by a car, but this young boy, quote, that everyone calls their brother, I don't know if there's actual relation to it, I don't think they ever really confirmed it.
No, it's just a guy, it's just a kid that lived with her, that lived nearby.
Right. He gets run over and he ends up dying, and she was upset because she never got to repay him for what he did. So ever since then, if someone were to try and save her, she basically would dedicate her time to repay that favor back, to which it was thrown in there. That was, again, surprisingly dark of a backstory out of nowhere, basically, for this character. And so it's like, what, Japan? But I think Colleen also handles that part very, very well with Otsu's story. But otherwise than that, Otsu's kind of there. But I will admit the whole, what was that, episode 3 or 4? Oh, 4. It was 4. Yep. I'm seeing my notes because Lydia's character came up was introduced in the same episode. The bits where Otsu is just there, just like, welcome home. Here you go. I have all things clean. I made dinner and all that stuff. And then basically poor Ryoshi, just like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. And him not getting sleep was probably one of the funnier gags in the series for that episode specifically. But no, Otsu is precious, and Colleen was wonderful and precious. Otsu just also is kind of there as a character. She doesn't really serve a shit ton of purpose. But I kind of wish she had. I wish she had a bit more purpose. But I really do wish Majolica had a fuck ton more purpose. Because she also is there. And she just has these weird gadgets and things and just part of the shenanigans. Lindsay's role as Majolica is 100% pure comic relief, I would think. Out of everyone in the club, this is where most of your comedic relief will come from. And it suits her well. So, like, she's one of the precious little gremlin children. And just is because while most of the other characters, their humor can be snarky and sassy, she's just bombastic and energetic. And, like, that's why I say a lot of comedic relief does come from her, but it's more of the bombastic, energetic kind. It's like, oh, I have this thing for you, and then this thing for you, and then whoa! Like, she's just so
That
pure.
was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like, I have this for you, and here you go. Gas canisters away. Like,
I shit on the floor. Steph, do it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta do is try to stop laughing. I had so much Taco Bell and shit on the floor.
That sounded more like Webby.
Fuck. I fucked it up. I'm trying.
Well, okay, to be fair, if Webby the duck from DuckTales ate Taco Bell, ducks have no sphincter, so she would just shit on the floor. I have watched the awful, awful video called Scientifically Accurate DuckTales so many times.
No, but, no, Lindsay, like, if you didn't know any better, she's almost near unrecognizable in this, because while Lindsay's tone and her vocal range can be very distinct, we also know her for things like, Nejire in My Hero as Nagisa in Assassination Classroom.
I was like, up until Nejire, I was like, Lindsay Seidel plays a lot of little boys.
No, but sometimes you forget that she has female roles, and Majolica is a very good example of this. And I'm assuming this is very much predating before she was gone for a while, and then she came back. But
She was Kino, too.
She was Kino in the recent Kino's Journey reboot.
Man, imagine if Majolica was Kino.
Oh God, fuck. But no,
Majolica would make Hermes.
no, 100% she would. Fuck. No, but yeah, Lindsay has just so much energy and just a gremlin, and you can't help but fall in love with it. And I'm so sad, because with her, and then I think the two cousins we're gonna get to a little later, you don't have a ton of backstory with those characters, and it's a damn shame. Because I would love to know Majolica's deal, 100%.
There's a line that's said to one of those cousins that I need to bring up at one point because it's the most savage thing that happens.
Lovely. But no, I really do love Lindsay as Majolica. It's just sad that Majolica doesn't have a ton to do outside of being the tech person that creates whacked out inventions like a fucking pumpkin carriage with bicycles.
With no brakes.
With no brakes. This carriage has no brakes. The Feels carriage has no brakes. Instead of a Feels train. But no, yeah, both of these performances are fun. It's just they also kind of get relegated to the back, despite Otsu having a bit more of a story to her, I think. But yeah, both performances are nice.
I'll start with Majolica because I think you guys already nailed it. Like, Lindsay's really cute and really charming, and I can see a couple of people like who aren't used to dubs getting really annoyed by her voice because it does sound a little cartoony, like compared to a lot of other characters in the show. It is purposely over the top, like the narrator, And if you didn't like the narrator voice, you probably aren't going to like Lindsay's take on Majolica. I think it's cutesy. I think it's charming. But again, unfortunately, Lindsay doesn't get to sink her teeth into a ton because Majolica doesn't do a lot. And Otsu is, I think, the safest performance of the show.
Yeah, that's one way to
Yeah.
describe it.
Colleen as Otsu is exactly what you would expect it to be. It's a solid Colleen performance. It's not anything special. I find really weird putting characters like Momo and Ashuramaru into there because I think those are two of probably personally my favorite work that Colleen has done playing both genders.
Yeah, like it's a bit more
Like,
dynamic.
okay, like look me in the fucking eyes and tell me that you all believe that Ashuramaru was Colleen the first time you heard it.
Oh no, 100% no.
So I like Otsu's performance with Colleen. Unfortunately, she is, like Hardy said, relegated to a lot of really shitty fan service jokes.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. Like the delivery of, I can't wear a nurse's outfit is really funny.
Yes.
Like, Colleen nailed that, like, one moment of the character. So, but that's all I've got to say. So let's move on to our next section. Next up, we have the fan service part of the Otogi Bank.
If we'd said Otsu was fan service, oh sweet lord.
There is Taro Hiroshima, who is a smart, pretty playboy who got held back a year because he was on a quote-unquote quest for wisdom. Otome Ryugu, who was off for a year on a quest for Taro.
Yep.
And Mimi Usami. She is a small Lolita girl who has a fan club at the school. She may have the looks of a cute little girl, but she's got the heart of a demon.
Yeah, just a bit.
She's kind of a dick. Or as Hardy said, a rat-faced little bitch.
Uh-huh. You could quote me on that.
Not wrong.
It makes me think of John Oliver's rat-faced bastard quotes.
Nice.
Where everyone says John Oliver looks like a rat-faced bastard. It's to quote his fake money church. It's more of a very elegant weasel.
Jesus.
Please watch that segment of last week tonight. It's my favorite.
This coming from obviously this coming from the man who collects vintage rat porn.
Yes. Okay, let's be real. If you've never actually seen this, John Oliver created a fake church at one point.
Oh my god.
That was completely legal. Yeah, and he told people to start sending their seed, which is money. Because they were talking about, like, this whole thing about, like, how churches, certain churches prey on the elderly and stuff to get their money for hoaxes.
Oh, yeah.
So they ended up stopping it, not because people would send them money, not because people sent them actual bird seed, not because somebody sent them a giant wooden dick. that they did. Somebody sent them a 4-foot wooden dick.
Oh my god.
But because multiple people had actually sent them what they thought was or actually was semen.
Oh my god.
That's why they stopped it. People sent him jizz.
Now, we
That's
don't have the time to
hilarious.
process all of that.
Now,
We don't even
time
have a
to
place to
unpack.
start unpacking that shit.
John Mulaney just walked across the screen.
Yep. John Mulaney was
Um,
like, we don't have time to unpack that.
So, let's unpack the people playing these characters.
Okay.
Taro is played by Todd Habercorn, Otahime is played by Caitlin Glass, and Mimi is played by Jade Saxton. Todd Habercorn you'll know as characters such as Yuichiro Taijima from The Big Wind-Up, Ling Yao in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Kimihiro Watsunuki in Triple X Holic. Caitlin Glass you'll know as characters such as Saya Minasuki in Black Cat, which, by the way, I do remember every word of her song in English. Kazuho in Nabari no O, and Akira Dojima in Kono Ototomare. Jade Saxton you'll know as characters such as Perrine H. Klosterman in Strike Witches, Yuki and the Wolf Children, and fittingly enough, the lethal hamster in Africa Salaryman. I saw that under her roles and had to take my shot.
Oh, I need to go back
Just
to
to briefly go over their myths. Mimi is based off of the hair in the Tortoise in the Hair to go over her and Otohime's rivalry, because when Otohime was a little girl, she was fat.
Yep.
And she was a cute little fat girl.
She's a
But they called her
fat girl.
But they called her Turtle.
Yep.
To make fun of her, and Mimi was a little cunt.
Wow.
I'm sorry to use strong language, but Mimi can rot in hell for making fun of her.
Oh man.
As a fat girl myself,
Oof.
her making fun of Otohime and playing cute and pawning off all of her work on little Otohime and leaving her alone so she could go to the arcade, and then she gives that little demon smile. Listen, I don't advocate violence towards children, but in that moment, I was gonna yeet Mimi into the sun.
Oh, I mean, yes.
Mimi was gonna get an ass whooping of big ass proportions.
Gotta
But
get
to go
that
over
wood
both-
spoon, right? And smack her ass.
Smack, smack. To go over Urashima and Otohime, they actually come from the same myth, which is of all things called Urashima Taro. Urashima Taro is a Japanese fairy tale about a fisherman named Urashima Taro who saves a turtle from being tortured by a group of small children. Fitting.
Okay.
Essentially, once that goes back, a turtle comes to him and says that the Sea Emperor's daughter wants to see him. They bring him back to the Palace of the Dragons. He meets the turtle, who is now the lovely Princess Otohime. He stays with Otohime for 3 days, but soon wants to go back to his village and see his parents. The princess says that she is sorry to see him go, but gives him a mysterious box called the Tamate Bako, which will protect him from harm, but he must never open it. Taro grabs the box and goes back to shore. When he goes back, everything has changed. Everyone he knows is gone, his home and everybody. He asks people what happened, and he finds out that 300 years have passed since he went down there. In grief, he opens the box, and from it bursts white smoke. He suddenly ages into an old man, and he hears the voice of the princess saying, "I told you not to open the box, and it was your old age."
Oh.
Wow, okay, interesting.
So, we're gonna do this a little differently. I'm gonna start off talking about Taro first,
Okay.
and we'll just kind of talk about Taro in a group.
Okay.
Todd's performance is very chill and very quiet, which is a lot saying because Todd's known for being able to ham it up a lot. But Taro is a character that is a little bit hammy, but he's not like over the top hammy. He's kind of supposed to be that cool, suave man service type of guy. Like, he's there for all the girls and the Bishi boys.
He is.
But he's a perv,
He's-
and he keeps on hitting on girls, and Otohime gets mad, and as the narrator says, I don't need to narrate what's going on there.
No, 100%, like, Taro is very, very chill and very just, like, out there.
He's
and
that smooth, cool guy.
He's the smooth operator, or so we are led to believe.
And then I really like how there's a point later on in the series where Onigashima tries to separate them all,
Yes.
and with Otohime, it's like the guys are gonna be creepy, but for him, they bring in a bunch of girls in bikinis, and they're all like, Taro, and he's just like,
And Otohime's
But then
sad.
and it makes Otohime sad, and then in the end he's like, but you're the only girl I want to see in a bikini, and you're just like, aww, he does care, but God, girl, raise your standards. But I do like when they're little kids and she's fat, and he's the only person who actually, like, is nice to her, and that's why she falls in love with him, and they're kind of in love with each other, and I think they're super cute.
Yeah.
So I think that as a performance, he does a really good job kind of conveying that. He's kind of like, I think, the same issues that, like, Majolica and Otsu have, where it's like, yeah, they kind of get their episode, but that episode's more or less dedicated to Otohime more than it is for him.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
No, yeah, like, Todd is just very chill, very relaxed, and he basically is, he's the token pretty boy in this show. 100%, that Taro is the token pretty boy in the show, and how Todd portrays him, I did actually enjoy just this calm, this very suave character, but then also just when it comes to Otohime, he gets scared. Like, he knows when he's done fucked up. And Otohime just drags him away. Like, yeah, it's very chill, very calm, and then there's this mode that the narrator deems his gentlemanly mode. And Todd just straight up is like very casual and very prim proper. Is like, yes, let's go on this turtle raft, my Princess Otohime. And she's just all like giddy and happy, and it's like, oh, you know what's happening there. You know why that's a thing. But no, I think I did enjoy Todd's performance, but again, a lot of these characters kind of get relegated once it's a one and done story, and this one specifically being the Otohime's in particular, but...
Let me just ask one question.
Okay.
If what Otohime is putting out is so good, then why is he running from it?
Exactly! What a pussy!
Is it too good?
Oh, man.
I'm like he gets genuinely concerned. I think that he is fully dedicated to his girlfriend, and I appreciate that.
No, 100%. He shows it.
But he needs to show some restraint, but I don't think he would ever actually cheat on her. I think he's just got this natural suave to him that just sort of brings the girls to him.
It just seems like I can look, but I won't touch kind of deal.
Right, exactly. And I think Todd plays him really well. Mm-hmm. I like Taro, and yet I dislike him because I think he's sort of this big brother figure to Ryoshi.
Yeah.
Which I do appreciate. He's and the man can fight.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's got a nice uppercut.
He's not just
Straight
a pretty
up.
boy. He's not just a boy
no.
with a pretty face. No.
I know he can back it up. No, there are things I really like about Taro as a character because he did see through all of Otohime's, baby fat and saw her as a pretty girl and appreciated her for who she was, and he stayed faithful to her despite all these other girls coming at him. At the same time, he does need to back off a bit. But regardless of that, I think Todd plays him really well. I think he's played these kind of characters before. Yep. Not as often as the spastic, comedic relief characters that he does. Right. But yeah, no. My issues with the character aside, I think the performance was really well done.
All right, cool. So let's move on to Otohime. I'll go first ahead. I really like how Caitlin plays her. And the one thing I really want to appreciate is that when Caitlin plays baby fat Otohime, she doesn't give her the fat girl voice.
Yes. Like,
I appreciate that too.
God, I hate when
so
anime do that. Like, I hate it so much. It's the fucking worst.
Yeah, we have so many complaints, especially the girls, because all of the girls are on
the bigger size.
Curvier side.
I am like the most turtle of the girls.
Yeah.
Well, okay, not all the girls. Zenith is pretty skinny.
Zenith is very skinny.
Yeah, Zenith is very skinny.
Look here, all of us ladies are gorgeous. All right.
We are all very pretty, but I look like a turtle.
Fuck you, you're pretty. All right.
I never said I was I had like a turtle. Which also, I'd like to point out, I really appreciate that when like. When Otohime gets her fucking JoJo stand, it's an actual sea turtle when it hisses like an actual sea turtle.
Yes.
She's also 100%. The one who
100%.
delivers the line of, they say a girl's jealous. Caitlin's delivery of they say a girl's jealousy is blacker than the ocean's abyss. You can scream now. It's like one of the best deliveries in the show.
It's amazing.
It's like because. It's because Taro's gone into gentleman mode, taking out all the guys, and then she's gonna take out all the girls that touched her man.
Yep.
That girl's about to clip that harem.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
No, and I really like her episode where she kind of learns her lesson about overcoming her past, where it was like. She didn't need to win the contest to stop being called Turtle and to become her own person. She needed it to learn that at the end of the day, even though there are like hundreds of other girls out there, Taro's always going to find her the most beautiful of all.
Right.
And I think Caitlin's performance is genuinely very sweet in that moment, especially against the actor who plays List. Again, it's another thing was like, I wish Otohime showed up more because I think she's incredibly entertaining performance from Caitlin. Because she is a little yandere, but she doesn't have the, like, overt psychopath voice. I think all of us are very used to right now Caitlyn playing Haumea in Fire Force. Who is...
Oh, Haumea. Oh, boy. She crazy.
Haumea, like, she's cray-cray. Her and Inca need to go away.
Cray does not even begin to describe Haumea.
Okay,
No,
Haumea...
It's an understatement.
It's an understatement.
Okay, would we say that Haumea makes Toga look well-adjusted?
You're not wrong, but you shouldn't say it.
She's right, she shouldn't say... Marge Simpson has entered the chat. She shouldn't say it, but it's true. I really like Caitlyn's performance in this because it's not something I think I'm genuinely used to hearing Caitlyn play as a character. And I really like it that she's got like kind of like sexy cutesy voice, but she's like also like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna go off and do my thing. And Taro, don't look at that girl or I'm gonna gouge your eyes out.
Yep.
So no, I genuinely really liked it. It's kind of like one of those performances that's like in the back that like, God, I wish there was more of it. So
No, 100%. Like, I love and appreciate Caitlyn's performance. Again, just to bring this up again, thank you for not turning Turtle Otohime into a whale. Thank you. I appreciate this. We all appreciate this. Curvier women who have a little bit more to them don't sound like fucking whales. So thank you very much for that. And most of what you've said, I am gonna 100% agree on, Megan. Like, Otohime just knows who she is, what she wants. She exudes this confidence about her, and Caitlyn just portrays that wonderfully. But the funniest thing, I need to bring this up 100%, and I got this very early on, especially in the episode where she goes against Mimi. Some of the traits and little quirks that Otohime has remind me of Renge from Ouran High School Host Club. Kind of the little, like, hand to side, like, oh, really? Is that what you think? Like, that kind of shit, you know what I mean? It reminds me kind of that character trope a little bit, but not like...
So the Oju-sama.
A little
yes.
bit. A little bit of the Oju-sama. I can 100% see it. Like, and I appreciate it so much, because, like, it gives Otohime such a bit of like a air of confidence to her, a confidence and badassery, and I just love it, especially as a character who grew up from this little fat kid into like a beautiful young woman, and who has the man of her dreams. It's just so much fun to watch that, and her dynamic with Taro is also so much fun, I feel. But no, like, I can't add too much more to what was said about Caitlyn, honestly. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I just also wish she had a little bit more than just that one-off thing that she did, though.
Hardy?
What was I gonna say?
Is she turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
Oh god!
Am I turtly enough for the Turtle Club? Turtle. No, I think that she's really sweet unless someone's going after her man, and then she becomes feral.
Yep.
She's like me hearing that they're dubbing Case Files.
I have to question, what is she putting out? Because Taro is genuinely afraid. Is it that great, or is it that terrifying?
Yes.
Is it that she has a mouth like like an actual sea turtle?
I'm not even gonna go there.
Oh shit!
Or is it vagina dentata?
The
No.
answer,
No.
The answer is yes.
Hardy's
We do.
Regardless.
Steph's reaction
No.
is, ha. Hardy's like, get that evil out of this house, Ricky Bobby.
You don't speak of that. No. Not now, not ever. And that's gonna be our clip for the best of
It's
series.
gonna either be that or the part about Majolica shitting on the floor.
Yep. One of the two.
No.
We still got like 3 other groups to go through. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh lord. True facts. We gotta go.
Yeah.
It's got
Yeah,
time
we
to
gotta
go.
speed through this. we got to speed through this, which unfortunately we're talking about the turtles, so that's going to take a while. But
Oopsie.
yeah, no, I think that I think Caitlin did great as Otohime, and especially in her crazy moments when she sees her man getting robbed, and she's like, "Taro, come here," and he's like, "Oh shit,
Time to go.
oh god, like tell my family I love them."
Yup. Tell my mom I love her.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
No.
Oh my
No,
God.
what I just really appreciate that, and it's really sweet at the end. No, you know what? I'll save this part for next. Go ahead. Let's go on to the next character.
Man, Jade Saxton has made a name playing little tsunderes, but this lethal little rabbit, this little hoe, is such a... She steals the scene. Whenever she's in there, where she's being like the cutesy little like, everyone's being mean to me.
Oh,
That's
Jesus,
actually
that
very
was-
accurate.
That is accurate. I'm a little terrified of you now. Shit.
Everyone's, and then like, where she's like, "Oh, Taro, it's so good to see you again." And then she's like, got her like demon JoJo aura, like
Which is a rabbit.
It's a killer rabbit. So that's what happened. Oh my god, it's the anime killer rabbit from Monty Python.
Yeah, it's a killer rabbit from Monty Python.
Now I need Jade Saxton's going muda 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 muda. Muda muda muda.
Do we
muda,
need?
muda. No,
Do we need to kill? Do we need to kill Mimi with the holy hand grenade from Antioch?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
we might need to. Yes. No. Jay needs to go do the muda mudas, but then like you line it up with a clip of the killer rabbit,
Pretty
just
much.
killing everybody.
Pretty much. Like, every dude
Pretty much.
yeeted their way out of that, and I love when at the end of the contest where she fucking loses it that she lost, and everyone's, and then everyone's like, finally sees her for what she is, a two-faced little bitch.
Yep.
But I also really
Karma.
like when, in the last couple episodes, where she gets duped by Onigashima and realizes what she's done.
Yes.
And you see her try to play it off like, well, I didn't want my reputation to be ruined. And, like, you can tell that it's genuinely a girl who's, like, realized that I done fucked up. Like, she does get Alice out of that situation by, sugar bombing people, and I guess she's the lethal rabbit, and I really liked it, and Jade's made her name kind of doing these types of characters. Like, if someone's a tsundere, like, ring ring, hello, Miss Saxton.
Not wrong.
Like, it's weird when she's not the tsundere, is more of a thing. And, like, I genuinely really like her in this, but I do like that, like, other shows have casted her in other types, so. But, again, it's another performance that, hey, I kind of wish there was a little bit more of, but what I got, I really dug.
Yeah, 100%, like, Jade is very spunky and is such a troublemaker, and she can be such a vindictive bitch. And I really love every second that Mimi just, like, tries to pull some shit. Because this is another character that I probably want to punt into the fucking sun. Maybe not as much as I would want to punch Shiro into the sun, but it can get there sometimes, which is great.
Maybe just Stratosphere.
Yeah, at least a strategy.
Mimi gets to go to baby jail.
Yes, she goes to baby jail because she plays so much on the cutesy innocent act so well, and the whole major thing with Mimi as a character, especially present day Mimi compared to maybe a little bit when she was younger too, like this is Jade having to act as if she's sweet and innocent, but she also knows she's being sweet and innocent just to get her way. So there's a little bit... So there are twinges in the performance when she pulls that act where you can tell that it's an act. And I really appreciate that it went a little bit of an extra mile for Jade to make sure we all know as an audience this is just a fucking act. Like, it's little subtleties like that I really enjoyed pretty much with The Devil for All. But, yeah, Mimi is a bitch. Mimi can go fuck herself. But, Jade, I really liked her performance as Mimi.
No, this show came out during the period where I still wasn't 100% sold for Jade Saxton as an actress. In her earlier performances, I think it was more of a mental thing. She always sounded very shrill to me.
Gotcha.
I think I was introduced to her first in her performance as Eve from Bakano.
Gotcha.
And back then the voice never really settled with me. But I think my initial opinion from 2012 was sort of the same way when I first watched the show. Going back and listening to it now, I don't have the same issues with it. I think she's great. But yeah, I am the one who is quoted as saying that Mimi is a rat-faced bitch. She is a rotten character until the last 3 episodes rather. And the fact that she tried to set the bank up not to cause direct harm to the members, but rather just to see them trash the place. And then when she found out that they were in fact trying to harm people, she had this face turn, and she hasn't quite redeemed herself just yet. Making amends with Tohime in episode 11 is a step towards that. But I mean, it's progression as a character, but she still hasn't earned my trust yet, because she, regardless of that, she picked on Tohime when she was a baby and she was fat, and now she hasn't. Tohime grew into a beautiful tree, and Mimi is a shrub, basically.
Mimi's a bunch of weeds.
She's a bunch of weeds, but some guy likes.
She's a dandelion, the worst kind of weed.
No, I like Jade a lot on a second viewing, and I think she did great, even though I really don't like this character.
Just don't make fun of fat kids.
Don't make fun of fat kids.
Coming from 3 fat kids, don't make fun of fat kids.
Don't make fun of fat kids, you
I will
bastards.
sit on you and break you.
Oh, yes.
I will kick you in
Like,
the
in the words of Zangief, I crush your head between my leg like watermelon.
Yes.
Like sparrow egg.
Yes.
Zangief.
I will break
remember, just because Zangief is bad guy does not mean he is bad guy.
I will break you.
Like moose and squirrel.
Yes, Rocky and Bullwinkle, let's go.
Moving on from moose and squirrel to ant and grasshopper.
Oh, Jesus.
Alice Kiriki and List Kiriki. They are a pair of cousins that essentially run the Otogi Bank, List being the president and Alice being the secretary. Alice is kind of the more uptight, smart, keeps things running, while List is the more playful master of disguise. And
This is the true master of disguise. Right here.
forget about getting into the Turtle Club. Who can get into the Grasshopper Club?
Yes.
The List is so good at it. List is canonically so good at disguising that he won a school beauty contest.
Yep.
Isn't this also how he convinces the principal to give them fancy stuff for their bank?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yep. He's a smart one. That List.
He's a straight up crossdresser.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not gonna lie.
He's. I think the
He's
show
not
says.
afraid to
I
show.
think the show says that like he likes going into drag.
No, 100%, and he's not ashamed of it, which is awesome, honestly.
Yeah. He also never opens his eyes, so it makes the one time that he does open his eyes badass as fuck.
Yep.
Like that's.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, playing Alice Kiriki is Terry Doty, and playing List Kiriki is Micah Soulsaw. Terry Doty, you'll know his characters such as Mikage Sakurai in Asteroid in Love, Kyoko Machi in Interviews with Monster Girls, and Moriko Morioka, aka Mori Mori, in Recovery of an MMO Junkie. Micah Soulsaw, you'll know his characters such as Rei Ogami in Codebreaker, B in Space Dandy, and Misaki in Kami-sama Kiss. They are both collectively based off of something called The Ant and the Grasshopper, Aesop's fable about essentially the ants who basically work all summer and stuff while the grasshopper or the cricket comes up with his fiddle and asks for food. And they're like, well, why didn't you do it yourself? And he's like, well, I was busy playing all summer. And they're like, well, have fun dying. And they go underground.
Wonderful.
So, Hardy, why don't you go first?
Yes. Terry Doty is playing Terry Doty.
Here we go again. Not wrong.
It's not wrong. I want to claim that it's wrong, but it's really not wrong, especially when you consider that Terry takes a lot of the responsibility of a lot of the technical aspects of dubbing. I think hasn't she done a lot of translation and writing and stuff like that as well?
Let alone ADR stuff, so yes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, she is very much the busy bee or the studious ant that Alice is, and this, in a lot of ways, sounds just like how Terry would sound in real life if she was talking about working on a dub. And she even kind of looks a bit like her, if we're not lying.
I can see it.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah. But yeah, I think that this came out when I first heard Terry Doty in a dub. I think it was for Corpse Princess, Shikebane Hime.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really impressed because she sounded very flat and monotone. Here, she also sounds rather flat and monotone, but it fits the character very well because we have the busy ant, and who is working and keeping things together and cohesive, while her dumbass cousin of a grasshopper goes and dresses up as girls and just basically lazes around all day. And so yeah, I think this role really suits her. List, though, this is basically Micah Silverside smiling with he smiles with every line he delivers, and you can tell that he is doing it because List just sounds so carefree and worryless, like, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. And then episode 11 shows up.
Yep.
Yeah. List walks in on Ryoshi and Shiro's fight, and he takes one look at Shiro and he opens his eye. And if you take a close look, even though they're different colors, he has the same wolf-like eyes that Shiro does.
That boy don't fuck around.
Yeah. No. So this is another reason why I'm kind of upset that the show didn't get more episodes.
Yeah.
Because we could have possibly seen List go full serious. But in other words, List is kind of in the background. He's a crossdresser. He uses that to get what he wants. And he's just kind of a little gremlin, but, he means well. So that's all I got to say.
I think I'm gonna go next for this section. So Alice, the first time I watched the show, Terry was always the weakest performance for me. And I still think that kind of holds true. Compared to the rest of the Otogi Bank, it's not a bad performance. I don't feel like it measures up to the rest of the cast.
Right.
I do think it's a little flat. I do think it's a little monotone. I do think when she does have to have her kind of freak out moment, it doesn't hit as hard for me, which is when the butler says that she is an angry old hag who's uptight.
Yep.
And I feel like when she lets go, it just didn't hit for me. And again, while it's not bad, I think the thing where it does work a lot is when she's running away with Mimi and they get stopped and the thug goes down and you find out it's List. And I want to give a shout out to both Jade and Lucy for this and the mix team because it is the funniest line. It's,
oh, yeah.
Litzy, thanks. And they're just in unison, Litzy? We're you find out there's a thing, they clearly have a thing, because in the Japanese, the thing is that she calls him Likun, instead of president or boss, she calls them like a little cutesy nickname together, because I think like they're kind of a thing, even though they're cousins. It's Japan, just get over it. And another really funny line in the show actually is when they're at the pool, and two of Himeno's siblings are there. And it's like, girl, boys in clothing. Girl, they're a choice. You can either take what you have or go reach for more. And they're basically calling her out for settling on him.
Oh my god.
And it's like, we're cousins. It's like, girl, we know better. Like, you like him. And they're just...
Kids are very intuitive.
Precocious, they say. And you can just kind of hear it in Terry's voice, where it's like, it's like the awkward laughing intensifies. So, like, I think in those little moments, Terry really got into, like, what I think works for Alice. And again, because this is only 12 episodes and we don't have the novels, we don't really know what's going on there. And then I've always really liked Micah's list. Like, it's probably one of my favorite performances of Micah, because it is such a little... He's also kind of a shit gremlin. Mm-hmm. Where, like, he's such a piece of crap. Where it's like, President, you set up the girls to do this. And he's like, whoopsies. And you're just like, oh, you.
Oh, he and his wallet paid for it.
He and his wallet are just like, he's such a piece of shit, but like, you know that like, if it came down to it, he is the last guy that you'd want to piss off.
Yeah.
And you can kind of hear that in Micah's voice, where it's just like, it's the customer service voice.
Yes.
He's got good customer service voice. And I love, like Hardy said, when he takes it off and he opens his eye and he's like, Shiro, if you touch my shit again, I'm going to kill you.
Yep.
It's like when someone pisses off Zeno in DBZ Super. You just don't do it. Don't fuck with Cosmic Sarah, and don't fuck with cross-dressing Micah.
Yeah.
I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna start with Terry, because I'm pretty much in agreement with everything you guys said. Because, Alice is... Where's my fucking note? Alice, as a character, is pretty straightforward, and she's very blunt. She's very observant. But I can agree that there are moments where the monotone, matter-of-fact kind of manner and voice that Terry does give can be a little bit flat sometimes. It does pull through, especially towards the end of the show, and it does. I do end up loving the performance for Terry. I think part of the other issue, though, is the character of Alice herself, being, as from what I can tell, straightforward and blunt and just kind of very dialed down. She's very much a straight man in this chaotic world. And taking that into consideration, I think that's just the kind of character that Terry had to play. And again, I have not seen the Japanese. I don't know if it's done in the same way, and they just did it the same way for consistency's sake. But I do agree that sometimes it can be a little bit flat sometimes, and it doesn't pull through at points. This is one of probably the weaker ends for me, but it doesn't hurt the dub, and it doesn't, I don't think her performance suffers too terribly from it. It's just, I have those twinges in moments where it does where some line reads are rather flat. As for Micah, Lord almighty, this man, List is very, like, nonchalant and casual, and he's just, like, Meg is right, he's customer service voice. Very much customer service voice is what List is and does with everything. And then it's so much fun and so enjoyable. He's like, the customer's always right, we're gonna do this right, and all this fun stuff. But it's just so much fun and nonchalant. And then again, like you guys were saying, you can tell there's something else there about him that nobody quite knows, and you don't really get much of a peek into. There are, like, little moments here and there where you could probably sense that there was something about List that was more than just this customer service voice and just like, yes, the customer's always right, we gotta do this correctly. And then when you get to episode 11 and then you just
have this oh shit moment where List is like, it's like, don't worry, you're gonna get punished in due time. I wouldn't come after us again. Like, that whole thing is like, oh, well then. So, I am just as disappointed that there is no season 2, because I would love to know List's deal a little bit more. But no, I do enjoy both these characters. There were some moments, I think, where Alice was a little bit flat, but I think part of that does contribute to the character of Alice herself. And List is just stupid fun. He's among some of the shit gremlins in the show, and I wish we got to see more of it.
So let's move on to our next set of character.
Yep. Speaking of shit
Gremlins. Pretty much.
The biggest gremlin of all.
Let's talk about the biggest shithead of all. The biggest shit gremlin of all. Ringo Akai and her half-sister of all things, Himeno Shirayuki. Ringo Akai is kind of the third lead character. She is the girl that when Ryoko transferred over became her first friend. She is based off of Little Red Riding Hood. I don't think I need to go into that. She is kind of like the technical mastermind outside of List. And Himeno Shirayuki is the prettiest, smartest, nicest girl in school who's got 7 little brothers and sisters. You find out that she is Ringo's older half-sister, and that Ringo's mom was the mistress. And that Ringo's mom kicked Himeno and her Himeno out of the house with her mom. And Ringo has always felt guilt because the last thing she said before she left was, "Are you going to be coming back soon?" Not knowing that she was getting kicked out of the fucking house.
Yeah. Poor Himeno.
Yeah. Being Himeno is suffering.
But of course we all know, before you go too far into it, but we all know which story Himeno is based off of, I hope, right?
She is based off of Snow White.
Yeah.
She's based off Snow White. But not with
and
red
her
hair.
little Rugrats, which are all individually credited and have actual voice actors.
Yes. Ringo is played by Monica Rial, and Himeno is played by Kara Edwards. Monica Rial knows characters such as Kaede Kayano in Assassination Classroom, Emeralda in The Devil is a Part-Timer, and Mayaya in Princess Jellyfish. Kara Edwards, you'll know as characters such as Videl in the Dragon Ball Z franchise, Hikage in Senran Kagura Ninja Flash, and Teddy Marinas in Last Exile Fam, The Silver Wing. Steph, go first.
Cool. I'll start with Kara, because this is going to be short, sweet, and to the point. She is a precious cinnamon roll, too good and pure for this earth, and she deserves all the nice things. There's not really a ton to say or talk about with Kara, and I actually didn't really have any notes on her either, because that's really Himeno in a nutshell. She's very sweet, she's very caring, she takes care of her brothers and sisters, and she's very accepting of her life and her position in life. She has no ill will towards anyone, especially to Ringo, because why would she have ill will towards Ringo? Ringo did nothing wrong. And I think Kara's just does really well being this sweet, older, almost a maternal figure, because that's kind of how she comes off as, especially to the younger siblings, is more of this maternal figure. And I just really enjoy it, and Kara does a fantastic job. Himeno is just not in the show that much. But Ringo. Ringo is a huge... We've been talking about troll characters throughout the course of the episode. This character is the biggest fucking troll in the entire show, and Monica fucking nails it. 'Cause Ringo's thing is she's very sweet, she's very nice, she cares about her friends and everything, but she also straight up has so much sass and is such a savage and will be absolute blunt and call you out on your shit. Not just call you out on your bullshit, but call you out on the sexy time shit, because she's the one who basically bounces off of Ryoko and is just like, oh, but what about this and this? But what about this? What was it?
the end of episode 11, she's like, I think you shouldn't you reward Ryoshi for doing so good? Maybe wear a pair of wolf ears and a tail. No. What about wearing a nice one-piece bathing suit? No. Like, she's such a huge troll and just calls out so much shit. And it like, I feel like Megan will mention this too. Sometimes lolly characters like this don't work very well. Ringo does, and Monica, I think, has so much fun as just a fantastic little force. But even with her being a majority of a troll, she does have her good moments where she is genuine and sincere, i.e. the two obvious ones being with Ryoko and everything that she goes through, and with her sister Himeno, because of course everything that Megan had just described. So while the majority of the role of Ringo and the performance is flat out troll gremlin child, it doesn't mean that that's the only traits that Ringo's character does have, and Monica also was able to portray some of the more sincere and genuine moments as well. Like 100%, even though Lucy is probably my favorite performance of the show, I think Monica's a close second because it just works so well. But yeah, I really love both these performances.
We were joking about this before in the chat.
Yeah.
I am 100% convinced that Ringo's carrying a fully loaded Glock inside that picnic basket of hers.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Ringo,
Fully
what's your favorite weapon? Glock.
Yep. I
Fully
see it.
loaded, safety off, hammer cocked back
I
at
see
all
it.
times.
I see it.
Like, die motherfuckers, steal, fool. But yeah, no, I mean, you can see it as early as episode 2. She straight up pulls a switchblade out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, Ringo is
Threaten
like
my life with the switchblade knife.
she is not afraid of anything. The only thing she's afraid of is confronting her sister.
Yes.
And eventually that even that gets that straightened up. Mm-hmm. No. I think she's just the most down to earth, effective character in the entire show. And she's not afraid of much, and she's faithful to her best friend even when she trolls her. And like, if I had to describe the relationship between her and Ryoko, is they're like Jay and Silent Bob. They're hetero life partners.
Yeah, I see it. Like, Ringo is the ride or die to Ryoko, 100%. Even to the
Bad
point
girls for life.
Even to the point where, and I forgot to bring this up, even to the point where Ringo does not give a shit, she will kiss her for a fucking dare. By the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that weird pig shit.
Yeah, the random, like...
I love that one thing. I love that one thing. Why do you talk normal?
Yeah. No, I can't help but imagine that one picture of Ryoshi saying, "This is my girlfriend Ryoko, and this is her girlfriend Ringo."
100% yes.
This is my girlfriend Ryoko, and this is Ryoko's girlfriend Ringo.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is definitely a Monica Rial role, and she just hams the heck out of it, and I love it. And she looks like a little red candy apple, if I had to describe her.
She does.
It's actually really funny because her name means apple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I guess what's her name? Snow White was there too.
Kara Edwards was here.
Kara Edwards doesn't get to do as much stuff as I'd like her to.
Right.
She isn't in as many things. Funny enough, she played double duties in the Railgun series as two different characters, I believe.
Damn.
Yeah. But, no, I mean, she was sweet and kind and kind of just there while her Rugrats took advantage of her at the water park. So. But I really did think it was very heartwarming when Ringo basically saves her life by performing CPR.
Yeah.
And they do have their meetup with the two sisters, even though, can we just say both of Ringo's parents are awful?
Yeah,
Yes.
fuck Ringo's parents.
Yep.
I mean,
Especially
Ringo
mom.
did-
Especially mom.
Ringo did nothing wrong, and yet, like, she blamed herself for
Yeah.
the actions of her parents, and like, that's just awful. But thankfully, the story ends on a good note with the two of them, and I liked the fact that when things start to go down in episode 11, the first person that she's worried about is her sister.
Yes.
and her
Yeah,
Well,
fuck
her-
you,
her-
Shiro.
yeah, is her bigger sister and her younger sibling. So
Yes.
all right,
Yeah, fuck you,
that's
Shiro.
all I gotta say.
Fuck you, Shiro, for threatening small children. I'll start with Kara as Himeno. She's really cutesy and soft, and I don't think I've ever heard Kara Edwards actually play a cutesy soft girl. Because, like, Vidal has kind of some edge to her, and then the other thing I really know Kara for is Breaker of Hearts and Fruits Basket, and if you know who that is, you know who that is.
Oh, yep.
Snowbell.
Yep.
I'll just say the word
yep,
Snowbell.
Yep.
So Monica's Ringo is probably like one of my favorite performances in the show. She is so good as this like little girl who knows that she's hot shit and is like
Love her.
is just like Ringo like pushes like it's like a cat who like pushes something on the floor and it's like, did I do that?
Yep.
And she's so snarky.
No. Speaking of cat, she's the cat, the video of the cat who's like slowly trying to push the glass off of the table.
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what she is.
That's what it made me really think of, though. I'm like, wait.
And I think Monica really nails that. She plays the troll as well as Lucy. And yet she also has those moments where, like, she has to be serious, and that's where I think she really excels. Like, when she says, I want my big sister, and cries to Himeno. And then when she's on the bed and she sees Ryoko cry.
Yeah.
And being like, can someone please believe me? And, like, in that moment, she's like, I don't know you very well, but you are now my best friend. And she's very smart, and I like that she kind of plays her as very precocious. Like, the line where she says the thing that will get us in trouble is delivered so well. And I love when she is such a shit to Mimi about how Mimi's stealing her gag.
Oh, God. The show
And you
itself
start-
is so self-aware.
And, like, where Mimi and her start cursing at each other. And the narrator's just like, bleep! Oh, we are going straight to DVD for this.
I was about to say, side note, Lucy's bleeps are fucking great.
Just, yeah, and all I've got to say is, when Ringo said she didn't like her mommy, you knew she was a no-good kid. But when she threatened your knife with a switchblade knife, what a girl, make you cry, und I did.
Fuck. Okay.
$5 for everybody who knows what that's from.
I don't. I feel like I should, but...
I feel like you've both... I don't know if Hardy's seen the movie. I know you've probably seen the movie, but you probably don't remember that song. Because I don't think anybody ever remembers that song.
It's likely true that I don't remember.
Like, it's... I'll explain what it is after the episode, so...
Okay.
But no, I really like Ringo, and I really like Monica's performance, and I think this is what I think a lot of people really like in Monica performances, is that she knows how to tote that line between being really comedic and being absolutely dramatic so well. And in a show like this, which does lend a little bit more towards comedy, but she has to be one of the characters that, like, when the time comes, okay, Monica, I need you to be, like, dropping at the hat and changing, and she works. So, that's all I have to say. Let's move on to our final set of characters, our little lovebirds. Our not so lovebirds. Ryoshi Morino and Ryoko Okami. Ryoshi Morino is a boy who has a phobia of being stared at, who might be a total wuss, but at the end of the day, he's gonna do everything he can for his lady. And if that means getting punched, kicked, stabbed, kidnapped, hit with steel-toed boots, or becoming the Japanese sniper, he'll do it. Ryoko Okami is a girl who acts tough, but deep down she likes cute girly things, and trusts too much, and it has burned her in the past. She is a tsundere, but deep down, you just want to hug this girl and tell her it's going to be okay and kick anyone's ass who hurts her. Probably with her. And together they form the greatest fighting duo. They are both obviously based off of Little Red Riding Hood, Ryoshi being the hunter and Ryoko being the big bad wolf. Ryoshi is played by Joel McDonald, and Ryoko is played by Brina Palencia. Joel McDonald, you know his characters such as Kiko Mimura in Sastation Classroom, Medusa in Shangri-La, and Dylan Dow Albalto in the Funimation dub of The Vision of Escaflowne. Yes, because Dylan Dow is the character you think of when you look at Ryoshi and go, these two are played by the same person.
Oh, Dylan Dow, you bitch.
Brina Palencia plays characters such as Priscilla in Claymore, Sora in Oedo Rocket, and Sakura in Zombieland Saga.
You're leaving out the most obvious one.
Fine! She's Holo in Spice and Wolf. Are you happy now?
I am. We had to bring it. We had to bring it up because the little chibi in the OP she looks just like Holo.
She looks like Holo if Holo was on the street.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Holo, ding ding, time for economics, motherfucker. Stock market in my
Reaganomics.
Reaganomics.
In my left hand, I have the Dow Jones. In the right hand, it's the S&P. And we're about to take you to Forbes. And we're about to take you to Wall Street. No, you know how we were talking about how Mimi needs the muda?
Yes.
And this is now Ryoko. This is now Holo with boxing gloves. Her stand is literally Ronald Reagan.
Oh no, we're losing Hardy. Shit, don't die on us, man. We're not done yet. I think, correction, this is now the highlight. Good night, everybody.
He's doing that to the Berlin Wall. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Reagan.
Well, I guess now the truth can finally be told.
So who gets to have Barack Obama as their stand?
Well, I guess the truth can now finally be told.
Oh god. That's almost spot on right there.
So-
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So who gets Jimmy Carter as their stand?
Well, I guess the truth can finally be told.
Stop, we're getting, like the ghost, I'd say the
We're
ghost of
gonna
Ronald
get
Reagan's
so
gonna go
much
punch us in the
trouble.
face.
We're gonna get in so much trouble. Stop.
So, Spaceman Hardy, would you like to... No, you went first last time. Steph, go ahead.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Hardy's gonna get us in so much trouble right now.
No, he's good. I allow it. I literally made a joke about Ben Shapiro being unable to find the clitoris last episode I was on. We're good.
You gotta love them world famous homeless girls.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Stop it.
No.
Fuck. Oh, I both love and hate you bastards so much.
I love you, Steph.
Oh, God. I'm gonna actually start with Ryoko on this one. Because this is Brina Palencia playing Brina Palencia as Brina Palencia. Like,
Pretty much, yeah.
pretty much. This is what you would normally associate Brina Palencia as. 100%. Does that mean it's generic and I hate it? Absolutely not. Ryoko, because Megan described Ryoko as a tough girl, but on the outside, but like soft and just very girly on the inside, basically. And Brina has to walk that line. Most of it is the outward appearance of being this tough as nails, like kick-ass kind of girl. And of course, Brina absolutely nails that 100%, no questions asked. That part of the performance is spot on. But I think the real points where Brina gets to shine is when the tough exterior is gone. And she's basically becomes this vulnerable little girl again. And especially the shit relating to Shiro.
Like, that in and of itself would be very hard for anyone, I would think, to portray. Especially the connotations and the accusations and the illusion of, yes, this is something that Shiro did assault her, you know what I mean? So having to portray moments and scenes like that, and basically, because Ryoko 100% has PTSD, 100% after this experience, and having to portray that is not an easy feat. So the tough exterior being Ryoko's coping mechanism, essentially, for her PTSD. And when you know this, it gives so much more depth to not only Ryoko as a character, but to Brina's portrayal of Ryoko. Because you have those very, very vulnerable moments, and you see this tough exterior and the walls come down, and you see just this very hurt girl wanting someone to believe in her after all the shit she's been put through, and having like these very huge trust issues because of it. So I really, really love Brina's portrayal of the character. Like, again, I described it as Brina Palencia playing Brina Palencia, which is accurate. However, Ryoko is so much more than that. 100%. And having to portray those layers, and for me, coming back to the show, watching it again after so many years, and knowing what happened to Ryoko after that first watch anyway, it gives so much depth and much more meaning to Brina's performance as Ryoko. So 100% kudos to her for that portrayal. As for Joel, as for Yoshi, he is a precious being that you want to see have all the good things come to him. He's such a cute little shy boy. He's a sweetheart. And you are just rooting for him the whole time. Like, we're rooting for you, buddy. We want you to have your girl Ryoko love you back. Granted, he's a little bit of a stalker in the beginning, and he can be very unassuming, and he's referred to on multiple occasions as a screw-up throughout the entirety of the show. But again, that's also just a general outward appearance, because deep inside, Ryoshi does have this confidence and this determination that he just wants to protect the girl he loves, and over the course of the show, you really see him growing into that more and more. And Joel's performance, like Ryoshi's character, does grow with it, and I fully appreciate that. But he's still cute and adorable when he gets all flustered and shy. 100%. Like, I love Ryoshi's character, and I love Joel's performance of him very, very much. And I just want to root for him, like, all the way. But in general, both these performances are, I think, very, very strong. And they do help carry the show, along with Monica, since Megan, I think you are right, Ringo is basically like the third lead character in this whole show, honestly. Mm-hmm. So the two of them plus Monica definitely carry the show through, and I just really appreciate that 100%.
Now that you mention it, Stephanie, I'm kind of thinking that Ringo is pretty much Ryoko's ex-seed.
Oh my god.
Why? Why are we going this direction?
Like, you can't have a family, they're not directly related, but you can't have a proper family without them. So Ringo is the happy to Natsu and Lucy's relationship.
Fuck you. Fuck you right now. Get out. You bastard. Fuck you.
No.
God.
I mean,
I hate you.
sorry. No, you love me.
I do love you, but right now I hate you.
But I do kind of wonder if maybe Brina did get cast because the character does resemble Holo so very closely. I don't want to think that, but
I doubt it.
It kind of does make sense.
I doubt
Beca-
it.
What's interesting is that, excuse me, I'm very burpy right now.
Digest your food properly.
Yeah, never. But
Never. You're gonna fucking explode your intestines and everything. What the fuck?
and you wondered where Majolaga got her fart bombs from.
Oh no! Ew!
Shit.
It was me all along.
No.
It was me, Austin. It was me. It was me, Ryoko. It was me all along.
You bastard.
No, it was interesting. When I first watched this, I actually rented it from a video store. From an
my
anime
God, yes.
video store.
Clutch the pearls. What?
Yes. But I remember actually being able to listen to the commentaries before, because that was back when it used to be they actually put the commentaries up on Funimation.com for you to listen to, but now they're sort of a Blu-ray exclusive.
Okay.
And Brina and Monica were on the commentary, and she made a comment, and it's like, hey, isn't it cool that the two lead roles are both Hispanic?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yep.
you're right. I'm like, that is really cool. And so, even back then, I think that they were striving to make people of color as more of a main thing in anime dubs. And that was 8 years ago.
Right.
But yeah, I think that Brina's a very well-established actress, and even without her previous connection to Holo the Wise Wolf, she really pulled this off, because she mentions herself that back in her early career, she used to get cast as the tomboys and the little boys, and then all of a sudden she got cast as a hot chick.
Yeah.
And so here, in this dub particular, she kind of gets to play both, because Ryoko is very, very attractive, and yet she is a huge tomboy. And so I think it's sort of the best of both worlds that she gets to play this character. And I will admit, my favorite line of hers is, hell nah. To this day. Back in the day, I loved it, and right now, I still love it. So, yeah, I think Brina is awesome as Okami-san, and I still, one day, hope for the day that we will get a death battle with her and Taiga from Toradora.
Oh shit.
Marissa.
And because they're not allowed to play each other's characters, I hope that Brina plays Taiga and Cassandra plays Ryoko.
That'd be funny as hell.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. As far as Ryoshi goes, we've seen Joel play the innocent sweet beans before. This is basically Jacuzzi without the accent.
Yeah, it really is. But it's
Yeah.
still precious.
Yeah. And going, I think it's kind of a bit of a downgrade to watching him play this character and then going on to play the invincible male leads in Sky Wizards and All the Ramen in the Sky.
All the ramen in this. Root still technically needs to still do his one-man episode on that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's-
that's right. He hasn't done that
Yeah.
yet. Shit, we gotta
Sorry,
remind
honey, I
him.
have to throw you under the bus.
Well,
It's technically pronounced Alderamen, but you know,
we still call all the ramen in the sky.
All the
I'm gonna
ramen in the
throw
sky.
a message into the chat now because this is.
No, leave him alone. He's sleeping.
All
You
right,
leave that boy
fine.
alone.
Oh,
No.
fine.
I think Joel is at his best when he does play these sort of innocent bean characters, because he also plays I'm Still Twinkling in My Hero Academia, who is also supposedly an innocent bean character, but yeah, you know,
He's
I
just got
think
a tummy ache, man.
no, I think he's at his best when he plays these sort of sheepish, cowardly guys who when they're pressed at their very limit that's when they released their true powers. And that's why I was so disappointed when Ryoshi clocked Shiro and the fight ended right there. I wanted to see them go all out. I wanted to see him take Shiro down a peg. I wanted to see him kick Shiro's ass.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all you get from me.
I'll start with Ryoshi, and I also like when Joel plays butt monkeys. I'm sorry, it's true. Joel's really good at it, and they're really endearing. Like, Jacuzzi, his character Laughing Under the Clouds is another one of my favorites, whose name I sadly can't remember, but you know exactly who I'm talking about.
I'm trying to remember.
He's that one guy that is the new dude to the Eric Vale squad, and they're just basically like, "Can you please just go talk to the Kuma brothers?"
Oh,
and he tries to smart ass Tenka.
Yep, I remember now. Okay.
Does he cheat Tinka out of the slaying of the Orochi?
No, he does not cheat Tenka out of it. He goes up with Sora, who's, I can't say he's his new boyfriend because Sora's clearly banging Jamie's girl in that show.
But I mean, Sora and Shutaro both go up to fight the Orochi.
Yes, he's the guy that cheats Tenka out of killing the Orochi.
Ah, I see.
That butt monkey. But like, even his character, even like Twinkling Boy is kind of a butt monkey. But like, I'm with you where I don't necessarily always enjoy Joel playing the brooding guy. Like, except for maybe Zareth in Fairy Tail, I did kind of like his performance there.
And then there's J-Ha.
Listen, he's still the best part of that dub, and you can fucking fight me.
No, I love J-Ha, 100%.
You can fight me on that.
It's
He's
like you would
still the
never
best part of that
put
dub.
Joel in that kind of role, and then it's like J-Ha exists.
Please make me a Yona season. Please, Studio Perot. Please just give a bitch a Yona season 2.
Please.
But no, I really liked his performance as Ryoshi because he is very sweet and charming, and there's kind of like a little bit of a rasp to his voice.
Yep.
Where it's like, ah! Like, you can tell this is a guy who screams a lot. It's such a sweet and charming and cute little performance. Like, is it maybe the best of Joel's repertoire? No. I think you, like Hardy said, you get a very similar performance that's, I think, a lot a bit better in Bakano, which is sadly not legally streaming like this is, so thanks, Aniplex. But man, Brina as Ryoko is really good. And I'm with Hardy, which is, I would love to see Cassandra Morris play Ryoko and see Brina Palencia play Taiga. Because I feel like they're performances that very much rely on the same thing. And I really also want to compliment definitely that change in Ryoko's tone between her little self and her big self.
Yes.
Where, like, bigger self is a lot more gruffer and tougher, and younger self is a lot more softer and scared. Mm-hmm. And I think that Brina walks the line with Ryoko, who's a character that, like, everyone who's never watched the show goes, ooh, look, tsundere. But then you realize a lot of it is she's had to toughen herself after being assaulted. Mm-hmm. And she's gone through this immense trauma, and the show does not sugarcoat it or ever play it for laughs.
No.
Like a lot of other shows do. Fairy Tail.
No, I appreciate that they don't play this up for laughs.
Yeah, no, like, Shiro is a complete monster, and he is never, ever, ever, ever seen as comedic in any way, shape, or form.
Yep.
And I think that, like you guys said, Brina does a really good job, and I like that Brina does this type of character, actually. I really like her playing these kind of more tomboyish girl characters, but, and that's maybe just because I don't like the character very much. Mm-hmm. I never really got into her playing Juvia, probably because I don't like the character. And I do think that, like, my own perception of, I like this character, therefore I like this performance, is there. And there are points of Ryoko's character that I can see absolutely turning off people. Like, she is a really huge dickhole to Ryoshi, but to be fair, he did stalk her.
Right.
That is accurate, yeah.
That is a fair
to be
reason
completely fair, she has every right to be kind of a dick to him.
Yes.
Like, he has protected her and stuff, but a lot of their relationship is still banked off the fact that he fucking sucked her. Mm-hmm.
At least he did come clean with it.
Yes, he admits that he's an asshole for it, so, like, thank God. And the show kind of dunks on him a lot for being a stalker.
Oh, yeah, the show likes to dunk on him.
And Lucy calls him out within the first 2 episodes, I think.
And one of the things I really like is the play off of their voices, with Joel being on the softer, lighter side and kind of a little bit higher, I think Joel's voice is actually a tiny bit higher pitched than Brina's.
A little bit.
And it works.
It can
and
be, yeah.
I genuinely really liked it. So we have been at this long enough.
God, I'm gonna have fun editing this too.
Yeah, have fun, bitch.
Thanks,
So
guys.
started off our final thoughts with one Mr. Spaceman Hardy.
I forgot how much I enjoyed this show. I blasted through it in about 2 or 3 days last weekend, and it's a cute little show. It's got its ups, it's got its downs. It can get really cute. It can get surprisingly dark, especially when you read into the lore of the novels and everything. It can get really, really dark. But it's always got its hard on its shoulder, and it's an easy show to breeze through. It's not complete. That was my main critique of it. But if you've got 3 days, you can spend your time worse than marathoning this show and just really getting a kick out of it, if for no other reason than the narrator alone. Narrator has her problems because she does speak up when she doesn't need to, and she speaks up way too much, and it drowns out the dialogue from the actual characters who are experiencing the actual story. But I think the good way outweighs the bad, because even when the narrator speaks up, the show always has its heart on its sleeve, and it breaks the fourth wall constantly. Mm-hmm. And let me just say that it would be a fan disservice to you if you skip out on it.
I see what you did. Yeah. I'm assuming that means it's my turn.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I also forgot how much I really like this show. And I'm so happy we're coming to it and talking about it, because it's been a few years since I watched it, and I'm going to have to agree with a lot of things that Hardy has just said, because this show is such a wonderful little gem that's kind of tucked away that not many people really get to talk about, and it's kind of upsetting to me. The show itself, again, like Hardy was saying, it has a lot of fun. It's this very energetic and comedic show, but it does also know when to bring it down to earth and to ground it, especially for these dramatic moments, and particularly those moments that deal with very heavy subject matter. Like 100%, it doesn't sugarcoat it, it doesn't play it for laughs, it just, this is what it is. And I 100% appreciate the show for doing that. I also appreciate the dub for handling that material very seriously. Because if it was played up for laughs, we'd be having a completely different conversation about this show right now. Hell, if it did, I bet Megan wouldn't have picked it for us to cover this readily.
Nope.
No.
That being said, the dub is just so much fun. Again, it goes with, it complements the show very well with this fun energy to it, bombastic moments, and such these fun characters and these performances that you can't help but fall in love with it. But again, it does ground us when we need to. It's not a one-note show. It's not a one-trick pony. There are a lot of different layers to it, and the dub does very well with this. If you are a person who doesn't like their scripts taking a decent amount of liberties with it, that might be the one thing that turns you off. Other than that. But if you are okay with shit like that, random Disney references, fun little one-liners like fucking Bouncy Time and PYT and a Puss reference, like, if you love that shit.
And oh my spleen.
And oh my spleen.
Oh, my spleen.
Oh my spleen. You're gonna love this. If you love shows that will sometimes troll you in the best way possible, you're gonna love this show and you're gonna fall in love with this stuff. Very solid. I would say underrated. Please go watch this show.
This is a dub that at the end of the day, you're gonna ask it to kick you in the face harder.
Yeah.
Mostly because you'll want more of the show, like I did. Because I
Yes.
remember I watched the end of the show and I was like, It's like that gif of Zuko going through the skull going, wait, where's the rest of it?
Yes.
Again, agreed, completely with Steph. If you do not like a script that's going to take a lot of liberties with the dub, if you are not going to like little in-jokes and little idiosyncrasies, this is not the dub for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't even do it. Like, I'm just going to say it right now. If you have a lot of problem with scripts that Jamie Marchi's written, don't even try the dub for this. Just don't do it. You're not going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to make a Twitter post about it.
Yep.
And frankly, just don't waste your time. Just don't do it. If you are willing to put up with that, there are a lot of really good performances in here. There are a lot of really fun performances in here. It's a dub that, at the end of the day, do I think this is like one of the best things that Funimation's ever put out? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of enjoyment out of this because I've always really liked this dub and I've always really liked this show. It is kind of an underrated favorite for me. This is a show that I like to watch, and I've gotten a lot of people who are in the cast to autograph this. This is a show of mine that is one of my favorites. Like, maybe not my top 10, but it's like within my top 50. Probably top 30. But I really enjoyed the dub. I like a lot of the performances. I'd probably have to say that this is probably, like, when people ask me, like, what is one of the funniest anime dub performances, I'll probably say Lucy Christian's narrator.
Oh, 100% agree.
It's a great time if you want to just kill a couple of days, because, hey, maybe you're not into all of this new seasonal stuff because it's not getting dubbed as fast as you want, or there's too much of it, or, hey, this is a lot of genre stuff that doesn't appeal to me. This is a show that I can say, just like, yeah, go put it on for like a day and you'll be entertained and stuff. So, if you'd like to watch Okami-san or Stuffing Companions, you can watch it on Funimation.com, both sub and dub. You can also buy, I believe there are a couple Blu-ray releases of it at this point.
I believe so. I know I have the
I have the original release.
I also
have the
have
original
the original
release.
the standard.
Here's the thing, because I double-checked on it with Best Buy. You can buy either the Blu-ray only Essentials release,
Okay, yeah, I did get re-released for Essentials, I forgot.
or you could buy the early Blu-ray and DVD combo release, the SAVE edition,
Gasp!
for the same,
Same price.
Gasp!
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they
So-
rebranded the save label as Essentials.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. So, in one you get a digital download, the other you get a DVD hard copy. It's yours to choose. They're both the same price, and
And they both have
yeah.
the commentaries.
Yes, they do. I would just like to add on to what Megan said about liberties being taken in dubs. Colleen Clinkenbeard directed this show. Jamie Marchi also wrote for it. If you are the type of person who has a problem with liberties being taken in dubs, do you also want to know a show that these two worked on together that a lot of people liked?
I feel like
Is it Rin daughter of Embassy?
No, it is not.
Why
What?
do I want to say Steins Gate? I know I'm wrong.
Is it Italia?
Panty and Stocking with Garterfield.
I forgot!
Garter Belt, not Garterfield. Panty and Stocking with Garfield.
Garter Belt.
I forgot that they were the team on that one.
They were, yes. And
You can.
and you can watch in the commentaries that Jamie specifically said the Japanese specifically asked her to make it as offensive as possible. So if any of you guys out there have any issues with Jamie's writing, and yet you love the Panty and Stocking dub, that's on you guys.
Yeah. Like, not everybody's gonna like it, because, let's be real, there are sometimes scripts that people don't like how it's handled. Not just saying Jamie, but in general.
In multiple people.
In general. That there are scripts that writers have handled that people don't like. And that's understandable. This could be a case that you don't. But fuck you, this script is fun. I'm just saying.
All of us like it, but again, that's to each their own.
Yes.
And anyway, Speaking of which, if you would like to make us at one point watch Panty and Stocking,
Yes.
did you know that
that'd be fun.
did you know that you can support us on the regular through Patreon, and it was a one-time donation to Ko-fi, and that our podcast would not be what it is without our lovely Patreons, including B. Morris, Michelle Travis, the Miraculous Corazon, and Victor Mayborda, and our $10 patrons who every so often get to make a nice little Patreon request in a raffle. And you could be that person who makes us watch Panty and Stocking. But we want to thank our $10 Patreons: Carla Lestical, Crimson Echidna, Jacob Wilson, J2 aka Jared, Julia W, Marissa Lenti, Nico Robin but with Yowie Hands, and Otaku Anthony. If you'd like to find us, the Dub Talk Podcast, you can follow us at Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Tumblr's dead. You can also listen to us on, I believe, Apple Podcast and Spotify.
Correct. You can listen to us on the go, not just on YouTube, but with Apple Podcast, Spotify, and our RSS feed is mostly on Podbean. So,
yes,
your ways.
Thanks, Steph. I'm gonna shill them for themselves tonight because I want to end this episode.
It's fine. I've done it to you plenty of times.
I would like to pee and go to sleep. I need to take a shower.
Fair.
You can follow her at Lilac Anime Review spelled RUVUE. You can also follow her at lifeandtimesotaku.wordpress.com.
Yes.
As well as, I think you have a photography Twitter now, but I don't remember what it is.
Well, I haven't really promoted it. I'm trying to start up a photography business of my own. Details to come later, I will just say. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's Spaceman Hardy. He posts pictures of goats. And animals. And,
I do.
And
Donkey
stuff.
Pants!
And Donkey Pants. You can hang out with him. He is one of the moderators on the Funimation Discord, as the forums have unfortunately taken their bow, and they will see a Space Cowboy. You can follow him at Spaceman Hardy. I'm Megan. I shitpost. You can follow me at Queenier2. Alright, guys, time to close this book and go back to our other Dub Talk elves. It's time
Go pee.
to pee and to
Yes.
lock Andrew in Torture Dungeon.
Yes.
I have to record so many more episodes in the coming weeks. Fuck my life.
So, Hardy, what would you like to torture Andrew with tonight?
Oh boy.
I would just like to say that all is well that ends well.
But
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Otaku-on, and remember, where are you gonna be when Reaganomics comes for you?
Alright. Yep.
Say goodnight.
Sure. Good night, everyone.
Say goodnight and leave out some trickle down for the ghost of Mr. Reagan, or we're never getting out of this. Goodbye.
Good night.
I'm pushing the stop button. Thank you very much.